Ready?
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Asylum podcast. Episode, I'd like to say 16. I think that's where we're at. I'm still too tired. Good evening, everybody. Hope you're all well. Thank you for TheFew and Moist for the lovely raid. And welcome TheFew to the podcast. About time you got your ass on here.
I know, I've been wanting to come over for a while, but it's hard time zone and all that, you know?
Excuses. Make time.
Can I just put it now, before we, otherwise we'll forget and then announce it at the end of the stream, we have a cyclone to give away.
Yes, we need to add that to the title. I forgot to say, we do actually have a cyclone to give away. So whilst Miz is kind of busy setting that up now, just to add that to his list of things to do.
Yeah, thanks, guys. So apparently we have a cyclone to give away, so if you wish to enter that, you're going to have to wait, because I haven't set it up. In fact, my bot is shit for setting up, because I don't think my bot even does a prolonged giveaway. So, let me have a look.
Terrible.
Well, what we could do is I can get a piece of paper.
Whenever I look on,
name down.
whenever I look on Scorpbot and you go to extended giveaways, it just says coming soon, and I think it's said that for like a year now.
I don't think it's coming soon somehow.
Yeah, somehow I don't think it is. So I'm not sure how we can do it. We can do it, but it's going to be like a very short countdown towards the end or something. So
on a scale,
so you're going to have to watch till the end, guys. That's pretty much how it's going to have to work.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how drunk are these two right now? Okay, that's the answer.
We've only drunk this much.
Let's pan the camera down and around. Great hands and balls at everyone.
Right, don't worry about it.
Crunch as they walk. We just say because we don't want to get into a Geo get money vomit live on the stream scenario, please.
Come on, that's a low blow. Too soon.
No, that never happened.
Too soon.
Okay, too soon. Good stuff. Well,
love you, Gio.
At this point, I will now probably just become a person and just leave. I'm just going to sit here and listen to you guys talk about BritizenCon for about 45 minutes, I think.
Where were you?
We'll just talk about how amazing it was because a little bit of madness wasn't there.
It was amazing. If only he'd been there, then he would have found out all the NDA stuff as well.
Oh, yeah. About the apple picking.
IFCS mostly.
And the apple picking.
And the IFCS was amazing. And the apple and the aardvarks.
Yeah, I was so gutted when I saw the people that put their names down for the dogfighting competition because I was like, God damn it, I hadn't done it.
I could have won again. I signed my first autograph, which was awesome, and it was on one of the trophies.
Oh, really? Nice.
Oh, did you not? Oh, that was awkward. Oh, sorry. Did you?
Well, I did sign an
Did
autograph,
you sign
apparently,
your autograph on a trophy?
but not on the...
No?
Oh, it was just me then. Ooh,
I did sign one, just not on the trophy. Someone had a book and a picture with it. So
Yeah.
Doing all the hard work and getting none of the credit.
Exactly.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So we have a doc, by the way.
So that's BritizenCon covered.
Oh.
That was it, was it? That was all that happened.
Yeah, that was all that happened.
To be fair, we didn't get to see that much that happened. All we got to see was lots of interviews with you guys.
Well, I don't know. Put your hands up in chat if you prefer to have seen interviews with about 10 different devs that we had, rather than the 2 boring panels that were on at BritizenCon.
To be fair, I am genuinely interested to see... Because I think we managed to, despite the problems, I think we've actually managed to pull it off. Just by dragging devs in and asking personal questions. And the chat managed to ask their own questions, which they wouldn't have got from the panel.
Yeah.
You know,
So I'll recap a little bit, because I was joking, I was a bit harsh. They weren't boring panels, okay? I'm sure they were amazing, but we wouldn't actually know being on the stream desk because we had no video and no audio. So although we paid to get in, we spent 3 or 4 hours setting up.
I was actually in the room on the first panel, but I was in such a panic trying to get the audio working that I couldn't hear half the stuff that was being talked about.
So it was you that broke the audio.
Don't hold back, Miz. Don't hold back.
It wasn't me that broke the audio, but it was me that forgot to hit the record button. So that way we have the information for posterity.
Too many cooks.
The funny thing is,
So can we roll it back? What actually happened? Can we just roll it? This is
right. Okay, so yeah, let's roll it right the way back.
Let's roll it right back to the beginning. So Miz turns up.
So we started off on the Friday.
Right. Can we go? No, can we start off before we went to Bar Citizen? That was the first
Friday.
mistake.
Well, Friday. No, first of all, Friday. Okay. We all met up at a really good time. We got there 3 o'clock in the end. Everybody was there by about 3 p.m. And we thought that's okay. We'll be able to go over to the venue, set the computer up, blah blah blah. Turns out we couldn't get in till 6:30. That was fine. So we went over at 6:30 and dropped the computer off, and then was told we can't set it up because it's going to be in the foyer. And we can't leave this nice, expensive computer that Moist kindly brought up with him sitting there in the hotel foyer, in the front of everybody, all these open windows.
Which is now in the possession of Miserable G.
I now own it all. It's gone. Oh, do you know what? I forgot where I live. I fell over. I fell over, hit my head, and now I forgot where I live. Ask Matt Lightfoot all about it. He'll know. So yeah. Anyway, so we dropped all the stuff off. So we couldn't set up the night before because of the position of where it was, unfortunately, which was a big mistake in my opinion. I think next time we're going to have to find some way of being able to set up in advance, or I don't know what. But anyway, so we decided then all go to the pub. I didn't think we drank too much. I thought that went all right.
It was a reasonable
at the pub. We didn't drink too much.
That's what I mean. That's what I'm. So the Bar Citizen actually So for anyone that didn't go or was thinking about it, so for next year and everything, the Bar Citizen was really good. We pretty much owned the whole of the pub at that time. There was tons of devs there. The whole top floor where we first booked out was completely full, and we basically were starting spilling into the bottom half of the. Well, in fact, we had a big table down there as well. So it was really good success, and I think everybody enjoyed it there. We kind of, Mac and I and a couple of us forgot to kind of mingle. We got there sort of semi-late, ordered some food, and then we just sat there eating and drinking at the bottom half of the Bar Citizen.
I remember you being antisocial, actually. Yeah, you and Mac. Yeah,
me too.
Yeah. No, it was actually really cool. It's a perfect bar. No, it was the perfect bar for a Bar Citizen. I've been to only one other in my entire life, and this place was like a lot of room, really good food, not too expensive, not too loud.
The beer was good.
Yeah. So, and I got some surprise show-ups. Like Zoc showed up. I didn't think he was coming to Bar Citizen or BritizenCon.
Oh my god, I love that guy.
Yeah.
Sorry, I carry on.
That was a good night. Good night. Continue. What happened after?
So anyway, we'll go back again from the evening drinking. So we had drinking on the Friday.
No, this is still it. So we thought, I've been telling Mac for a long time, because last year, if anyone remembers, I was streaming with Mac, and he decided to get totally pissed, and then we stayed up quite late. And
wait, did he decide this, or did it just...
That doesn't sound like Mac.
Yeah.
No, this is what happened. So the first year, we got...
This is a year before.
Yeah, we got absolutely hammered, and we was up till 3 a.m., and so the next morning... I got up and was chucked in and said, right, there's the stream, sort it out. Mac was supposed to be helping me, and he slept through it all. So I basically did the whole stream by myself and then he went to get me a sandwich and disappeared for 3 hours when he fell asleep on the toilet.
You weren't just doing the stream.
No, I wasn't just doing the stream, but it doesn't matter. I was doing lots of shit. But, so this year I said, look, Mac, we're going to be sensible. We'll go out the pub, we'll have a few drinks, and then we'll go back to the room, sleep, and get up and nice in time for streaming the next day, which is a really good plan, except for we decided to go back to the hotel with Moist and TheFew. And what did we do, folks? What did we do when we got back to the bar, went back to the hotel?
Well, we walked through the front doors like rock stars, obviously. And then Mac immediately turns left and walks into the bar. And this poor barman, he looks at us and goes, oh, shit. And he's locking up. He's like, you can have one drink, and that's it. So he pours us our one drink. Absolutely fine. And we get most of the way through our drinks, and we think, right, it's time to go to bed. And then this guy walks up to us. He turns out to be the night porter. His name is Dave. He's a proper lad, right? I'll always remember Dave. And I'm staying at the Hilton next year, just so I hope I bump into Dave. And he's a proper lad. And he says to us, don't worry, boys. I'll sort you out with more drinks.
By the way, he's not even kidding. I know that Moistito likes to use the word Dave, as like a stand-in name.
Yeah.
The guy's actual name was Dave.
Yeah.
Okay.
You couldn't make this shit up, honestly.
So he brings us more drinks. He brings us more drinks, and Max says, "Don't worry, boys. I got this. I'm paying." Puts it on Mrs. tab.
Sorry, Miz.
What room are you in? Oh, the one that Miz is paying for. Right, thanks. It cost me about 100 quid, that fucking...
Drinks. Then I think
hotel bill.
Mac puts around on my tab. Then he eventually gets his own tab. Did you get?
I never paid for anything.
I didn't pay for anything.
No, I think you put it on mine again. I think I had about 2 or 3 rounds on mine.
So here's the best bit. It hits about 4:30 in the morning, and I think, is it you or Mac that went through?
I went to the restroom.
Right,
Yep.
so
4:30 in the morning.
TheFew goes to the restroom at 4:30 in the morning, comes back and says, "There's salsa dancing through there." So immediately TheFew and Mac get up and disappear. And then they start salsa dancing with random strangers at 4:30 in the morning.
Not random strangers, with each other.
With each other, obviously. But
In the room full of random strangers.
Yeah.
Was it actually strangers, or were you at this
Yes.
point hallucinating?
No, there was an actual...
I believe the room was full of real people.
Okay.
Eventually they get kicked out and return. Then we have another round. And we eventually get to bed at 5:30 in the morning.
I told Mac to stop because we were still drinking, and then he walked up to go to the toilet, and I was like, Mac. And then I think TheFew said to him, "Get another round or something." One of you did. And then he went up to the bar. There was no one even behind the bar, and he just started screaming, "Dave! Dave!" And all of a sudden, Dave just appeared from God knows where and said, and I'm just shouting. They go, "Mac, no, Mac, we're going to bed." And the next thing you know, I look around and Dave's already poured 2 pints.
Dave was amazing. I loved Dave. We need a Dave emote.
Let's go back to the dancing for a second. Super Mac and I, we went on the dance floor. There's tons of pro dancers. They were competing. I don't know what was going on. They had like everything set up. Of course, Mac and I are quite experienced in salsa. We have a lot of like background knowledge and time in South America, studying with some of the best.
Yeah, obviously.
So we spent time together on that dance floor. It looked a little bit like a tango at one point.
Okay. Yeah.
But overall, it was pretty solid, and we were showing off our best moves, and everybody was looking at us kind of weird and strangely. And we're like, why do they think that we don't belong here? And it turns out it wasn't salsa at all. They were doing West Coast swing.
Obviously. So everyone can tell the difference between salsa.
If only we had known it was West Coast swing instead of salsa, we would have fit in. But
perfectly. Yeah.
What would have happened if it had been like breakdancing or something?
I mean, if I had seen it first, I would have told you it was West Coast swing. But...
Street, contemporary street or ballet or something.
They probably would have fit in better, to be honest.
Yeah. God. Oh my God!
Yeah, I think we
IRL.
We actually managed to get to bed around 5:30, and my alarm went off at 8.
Well, I set my I set my alarm on my phone, and all I remember it saying was, "You have 2 hours 30 minutes before it goes off," and I was like,
I had a hotel, but it was like 20 minutes away, and I was like, "Do I ride 20 minutes there, 20 minutes back, and get like almost an hour of sleep?" Or do I just sleep in the chair in Mrs. and Mac's room, or the moist noodles? Whatever, I hadn't decided.
Well, no, you were going to come to my room, but
I didn't know if you had a chair or not.
No, I didn't let you in the elevator. If you the doors just shut, I was like, bye-bye.
So I ended up falling asleep on the chair in Mac and Mrs. room at this crazy hotel called the Hilton. I don't know who calls hotels Hilton.
Douchebags,
yeah,
obviously.
Exactly. And I actually slept quite well. Surprisingly, I went to sleep. I crashed. I woke up at around 8:45, going perfect timing. Let's get out of here. Miz, of course, woke up because he's a gentleman and a scholar. Got in the shower, got ready because he's a professional. He's gonna get the stream going. Mac, of course, stays in bed.
Didn't.
I'm not doing it, guys. Go on without me. Finally, it's Mac's turn to go get out of bed and take a shower. He won't get out, so I literally grab him by the ankles and drag him out of bed.
And then, so we get an Uber.
Okay, so that was the day before.
This was the day before. Well, technically, it was the same day. I mean, we were up till 5:30, so.
But the one.
I'm gonna use the loot. I'm gonna get some more beer. Okay. I'm gonna apologize to chat, but he's gonna continue on, and you guys are gonna have fun.
But the one good thing that came out of this, we turned. What's the hotel's name? The Radisson
Blue.
Radisson.
So we turned up in the Radisson Blue, and we walked through the doors. The doors part, and we walk in like rock stars. All five of us is wandering, staggering.
Coffee in hand.
Ray-Bans on, coffee in hand. It was beautiful. And the thing is, right, so they're panicking because we haven't turned up yet. And bless him, poor Gabe has attempted to set up my rig.
Attempted, as in he put the computer on the table and walked away. Like, here's your setup, guys. And we just had half a PC on the table. But so that was the beginning of the end, basically.
I would people in chat are all like, we want to see the footage and stuff, and I'm like, I want to see the footage because I reckon the reality versus their drunken reality would be priceless to watch as well.
It was exactly that. But
on Twitter.
Yeah, I was actually posting on my Discord every hour, like from past 2 a.m. Like, this is us still up. This is still up. So you can actually, there is a picture of Dave on my Discord.
Oh, awesome! Exclamation you got Discord?
Exclamation Discord. It's in my BritizenCon pics thing. There should be a picture of Dave. Dave pulling pints.
The problems that we ran into with the stream were nothing to do with us. We were actually ready to go on top. Well, like 15 minutes late, but we were almost ready to go on time.
You're in. To be fair, watching it, I wasn't. You didn't look like you guys were wrecked. And I've been up till 5:30.
I don't know how we did it.
You kind of just either you carried on drinking from literally when you woke up.
To be fair, I think we relied on Maya quite a lot.
Well, yes and no. I mean, there was not much. The technical bits that they were doing, I didn't. Like, I was setting up I set up the stream that we needed, and like obviously it was Moist PC, so he knew how to plug all that in and set it up. So he kind of did that. And
I set up the audio, like the stream audio, not the audio that went wrong. Just saying.
But the thing is, overall, it wasn't. None of that bit that wasn't working wasn't really our fault. There was nothing we could do. It was because they put. So last year we was in the same room as the general panel room, so everything just plugged straight into the back end of the PC. But this time we were out I'm going to say out the front because everyone keeps taking the piss when I say foyer. So it was out the front. Foyer. We was out in the foyer. So it was out the front. So everything obviously had to be transmitted through to us. And first of all, we didn't have cables, and they ran the cables. But there was a point, and I've watched back the video while I was setting up, and there was a point where we had both video and audio. So I don't actually know where it went wrong. But yeah, so we were. You just said you were going to the toilet. No. And he's come back with two glasses full of some.
Dave is out the back.
Wow.
Serving them drinks at the moment. That's what's happening.
Right, either you just took a very big piss into two glasses, or Dave is in the bathroom. Which one is it?
You brought Dave.
So, Dave, I went down to the bar and said, 2 more, please. I'm going to be in the bathroom. I'll be right back. Pick up the beers. Thank you very much. Yeah. You know? I need a beer.
Another two beers are coming. Or another
another 2 beers are coming. So yeah, basically, we set up the PC and everything, and to be honest, I put the overlays on, and the bot was all ready and everything else. But we just couldn't, and we were ready by at least I think about 10:30 at the latest, and we just couldn't get the audio and the video coming through from the main room. And TheFew was running back, and Maya was running back. Then we had his little walkie-talkies going, "Go on, just fix it." And we just spent, I think it was 3 to 4 hours from that point trying to get audio and video to work.
It was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Did you miss the part? You didn't even see this part, miss. So before the first panel, I guess you call it a panel, right? Before the first panel, Chris, the guy who organizes the event, like, he comes into the main auditorium where like Aaron and everybody's sitting and all that jazz waiting for this thing to start. And he's like, he comes to me and he's like, "Are we good to go? Can we start the event?" He literally looks at me. I'm like, I have no idea what I don't know.
Can we start the event?
And I'm like, I don't sure. Like, I don't know. So it was crazy. It was crazy.
And this is why, by the way, anyone here that's ever thinking about maybe going to BritizenCon or this is where you go. Because it's
honestly, it was stressful as fuck that morning. But it was funny as hell the night before. So yeah, I mean, we got it all set up, and in the end, we thought we were ready to go, right? And so Chris let everybody in. The panel had kind of started, so we put it on. We pressed go on the stream, and then the stream fired back saying couldn't connect. And we were like, what? So I pressed go again, and it's, no, failed to connect. Apparently, the hotel had blocked Twitch port, so we couldn't stream to Twitch. So when we had it all finally working, we couldn't get the signal out. So then we tried my phone, which was, I think we had a few minutes. Anyone that was watching the stream saw that we had a few minutes of connection and a little bit of chat. But then it was just going up and down. And what we realised was because the video feed from the main panel room was coming through the network cable, we couldn't have the network cable and Wi-Fi running at the same time. So as soon as we unplugged the network cable, we only had audio. So it didn't work. So I had to cancel that.
We could have. But because of the anniversary update for Windows 10, I didn't know how to do it. So they changed things in the Windows 10 UI. So yeah, that was a bit of a nightmare.
Yay, Windows.
So the first panel we missed. What we eventually did is Cray very kindly took my phone, and because I'd already preset this up, because we did plan to do all sorts of things like walking around and show the setup and everything else on the phone while we did like a walk-in tour of it all. So we did a stream from my phone, and he just literally stood in the room holding my phone, streaming the panel. So we got like a little bit of the panel. By the time we went in there, I think my phone was almost on fire from doing it as well.
Can you show the picture of all the streamers like actually trying to like work on the stream?
That photo is amazing.
You have that?
I have got it somewhere. If you give me a second, I'll find it.
How many streamers does it take to get a stream working photo?
I saw that on Twitter. That was hilarious.
It's slightly embarrassing there.
Well, there you go. Look, I searched hashtag BritizenCon, and it was the first one that come up.
The first one to come up with the hashtag.
It literally was the first one that came up. Right, let me just change scene a second.
Yeah, no. It was humorous. It was very humorous. But I mean, I'm surprised though, because at the end of the day, the guys like Chris and the guys who organised the event paid more money than last year. Last year they piggybacked naughtily on the internet, or tried to anyway, and they didn't think they managed to get it working, to do 4G in the end. Whereas this year they paid the extra to be able to use the internet to be able to actually do.
Oh, really?
Okay. So they paid extra. So I think lessons were learned again. I think next time they probably need to communicate to the hotel to say, hey guys, you need to unblock Twitch so that we can upload or do something, I guess.
Well, the thing is, after we got the audio fixed, there was a crowd around us as we're trying to get the stream going. And like, I'm just sat there with my head in my hands, stressed out my mind, because like, I feel like I should know what to do. And I'm really disappointed. I'm upset at myself because I know there are people that are disappointed because they can't watch. And then in the crowd, I just hear, why don't they try a VPN? I'm like, oh, Tunnel Bear. So I had Tunnel Bear installed on my computer. Not everyone's favorite, but it'll do. And I just turned on Tunnel Bear. The moment I turn on Tunnel Bear, it all starts working.
Well,
and from there on in,
we got past the port block. We still didn't get audio and video from. We never got.
Right, so we did for a moment, but the problem with that was that there was actually a professional audio sound engineer in the crowd, and he saw that we were having issues. So where previously we'd managed to get it all working through the XLR cables, perfect. He came in, wasn't sure what the other guys had done because they had disappeared, and they started tinkering with stuff, and then the XLR cables stopped working. So that's when we had to go for Plan B, which wasn't even there.
Which is a shame, because I think like Darren worked his arse off.
Like, you guys were on stream, I was just trying to think to myself, what can we do to entertain people? So I started running and grabbing devs and putting them over to the stream.
Yeah.
No, we got pretty well. It did work out pretty well.
So that's where we had hours worth of devs, which was really cool.
Mm-hmm. It was. I mean, I enjoyed. They've been, it's nice seeing them in more of a casual kind of light and less literally all polished on ATV, it's always nice to see. I mean, we see a little bit nowadays with the reverse to verse, but or whatever it's Ask the Devs, Call the Devs, whatever that program is. But it's nice, still nice. It's still probably a bit set up. Whereas this is like a, they were letting it, you could see them kind of cashing it out, getting drunk, and it was good. You should have pressed that newbie a bit more maybe later. Did you guys get any good information out of it?
No.
Yeah. I don't care who.
See, the problem was
there's a lot of interesting conversations.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what was the best interview? Do you felt that you were there in terms of what
so we had to talk about? Oh, sorry. We're going to talk about the interviews on stream or in general?
Yeah. Just the ones that you guys. Well, doesn't matter. Whatever.
Because I actually spent very little time in front of the camera, as you guys.
And I was literally sat there. I was paying that much attention to the sound levels that I wasn't paying attention to what was being said. So.
But I did talk individually with other people about generic random things I can talk about during this podcast. But I can and I will. But as far as stream content, I wasn't there. I wasn't part of the. I stop every once in a while. I did photo bombs. It's me. But that's about that was my participation in the stream part of the event. So.
About as much as Max.
Mac was incredibly helpful. I don't know what you're saying.
It's like I know nothing. He just sits there going, I know nothing.
The two things that really stood out to me were Matt, for talking about mining. I think that was just generally fantastic.
Did you know we actually had him on? His interview was almost 2 hours.
Really?
Because I've been chopping all the interviews up to put up onto our Asylum YouTube, and his is by far the longest. It's just shy of. It's about an hour and 45 minutes, something like that.
Wow.
We locked him in and didn't let him go, basically.
Well, to be fair to him, he got locked in with a very, very awkward conversation.
Yeah.
And Matt's pretty amazing. I mean, all the CIG people.
Yeah, I love Matt.
I mean, he was a good one. He was probably one of the best. Well, not the best. They were all good interviews, to be honest. But he was good in terms of his position in CIG and the fact that he was linked to mining and things. That means he had a lot of knowledge about a lot of different things. So
he's the producer, so technically he can answer all the when questions.
And trust me, we tried chucking all the when questions at him. and plenty of ship questions, and he kept going, I can't answer ship questions. You need Luke Davis. And then all of a sudden Luke Davis comes on.
Luke turns up. I think I grabbed Luke. And then Luke starts talking about IFCS. I'm like, wow, these are the two topics that people are really talking about. Perfect. So I think Luke was with you for quite a while as well.
Yeah, and I talked to Dave, somebody.
Dave Colson, I think.
Yeah, the developer who actually works with, I think, IFCS as well.
Yeah, so we had Ricky Jutley and Dave Colson came on behind him.
As well.
So he did talk a little bit about IFCS then. So yeah, I presume that's the guy you probably talked to about it, because he says I'm dealing with it.
2 hours. I was just like, tell me about this, about this, about this. He's had issues with this, this, and this. And yeah, it was awesome. I mean, mostly we talked about the intentions of where they want to go, not about specifics, but it was really, really amazing. So, yeah.
Ricky's
hair. Yeah, we talked about his hair. He got waist on so they could do a side-by-side comparison.
I need a screenshot of that.
His hair is actually
here. So the Ricky in the game was actually modeled like a year ago, apparently. So we're hopefully expecting a Ricky V2 at some point, which would be really, really cool.
Yeah, and we also had
V1 is definitely my hair.
At the end of the stream, we had Mickey on as well, and I forgot to ask her if we were going to have, when we get female models, whether we're going to have the Mickey as well. Because she had long orange hair, so we can have the Ricky with the blue and the Mickey and the orange. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Every dev that I spoke to, I reminded them how important it was that we get two-tone black and blue hair.
Yeah, everyone game. Until we got it.
I will keep bugging everyone.
So, in terms of devs that we actually had on, so these interviews will be going up on the Asylum channel probably tomorrow, because it's taken me a little while to split them all up. But we had Brian Chambers, first of all. His was a little bit short, unfortunately, and to be honest, I didn't interview him very well, because we'd literally just kind of gone live my head was fucked from trying to get everything to work. And he come down and I'm like, shit, try and think of questions. So we asked him a few questions. We did even go and talk a little bit about his hops growing because I thought that was quite interesting.
Yeah, that
was
awesome though.
So
that was awesome.
So he went and told us all about his hops and how he's growing that. We asked him if he's going to be in Star Citizen, and he just flat out said no.
Well, the thing is that he does that when interviewed. Like I've seen him being interviewed, and he's very cagey. He's very smart. He's a very smart man, and he can only answer so much. And if it's not relevant to what he's doing, he'll just shut you down or whatever. But when you asked him about the hops, and you started talking about, and you showed an interest in his life outside of just CIG, he opened up and was much more interested.
But again, I think it's really cool to see CIG devs kind of outside of CIG. Like obviously, as a content creator, it does need to be about Star Citizen to a certain extent, obviously. But to see that kind of more relaxed side of them is kind of cool, really.
But I think it helps when you interview someone to give them topics that they'd like to talk about as well, because and can talk about that's not going to get them told off or anything. And it helps relax people into a situation. It's just then Maya kind of called Ricky over, and he saw it as an escape, and he kind of fled. After Brian Chambers, we had, like I said, these will be up, so you'll be able to watch them later. We had Ricky Jutley and Luke Dave. No, not Luke Davis, the other one, Dave. I told you who it was just a second ago, and now I forgot his surname.
With Ricky, though, we got to understand how he does his hair like that. And I was like, it was so clear. He uses salt. Honestly, he's been coming on the show, clearly. He's been watching me, and he's been getting his salt.
You know what you need to do, man, is bottle your salt into a little spray, and you'll be able to sell a fortune to the Ricky hairstyles.
The Ricky salt. My man, I'm telling you, that's what it's all the salt that's been thrown at CJ is causing that, is helping that hair. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I kind of told Ricky that Brian told us about his hair, so he felt like he was obliged to follow, and then he said, hang on, you're lying to me. But he went off and told us all about how he did his hair as well, which we sensed a bit of a lying when he said he blow dried it for 3 to 5 minutes. I reckon we were near 10 minutes on that. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And then we had Dave Coulson in the background. He was talking about, like you said, the IFCS stuff, which was quite interesting. He acknowledged that obviously it needs some work and there's lots of things that are broken, and how complicated it is trying to balance the IFCS when you've got lots of other ships and different sizes and things like that. So I thought that was a good interview with those two. I think after them we had Ulf. I think may well have been the next one. Which is, for most people you probably all know, but is the community manager for Germany, and well, I think he's a European community manager, but he's based in Frankfurt 42. So so he was an interesting chat. It was nice because he actually came over, because Brian couldn't make it for the Bar Citizen on the Friday, but Ulf actually came over with a few people on the Friday as well, so we met them at the Bar Citizen. So I thought, and this is one of the really good things about the BritizenCon, and is the fact that the devs do come over, like even the day before, and you get into chat.
Genuinely, really, because I've never been to a Star Citizen event before, and I get starstruck very, very easily. And just seeing people like CIG devs and community managers and designers and whatnot, like I was really timid. And they came to me. I spoke to Ulf. I spoke to, I forget his name. It's a guy from marketing. I only spoke to him once. But he was a really cool guy in marketing, something I'm interested in. So we had a really good conversation. It's like they make the effort to come to you. And the one thing I really learned is that they're people. They're as nervous as you are, so they're not like the effort.
They're not corporate America, the man, you know what I mean? They're like guys who are super passionate. Many of them started out as backers. Like many of the people I talked to, like, I just came on like 9 months ago. I've been back in the game since 2012, but now I'm an employee and I'm helping build this game that I've been following and loving for so long. So,
and actually, so awesome. Speaking about people approaching me, I don't know. So a few of the people who are watching might know already, but I got into a little bit of trouble leading up to BritizenCon, where I was trying to do something nice for the community, and I designed them. I didn't actually give them out because I haven't seen them. Bring them out. I want to see something slightly better. I want to do something slightly better.
But can I show them
with me?
Can I show them?
Yeah, go for it. Go for it. Go.
Keep talking.
None of the characters. Oh god, here we go.
We can explain.
There's
Yeah,
an
none of the
email.
So basically, I got into a little bit of trouble because
We'll tell them to show the characters first.
I wanted to give something away that would encourage people to talk to each other. So I decided to create trading cards and create packs where there were doubles in the packs and missing one card. Mirs, for the love of God, don't show any characters, only...
well, they're not going to be able to see through this.
There's
it's
a
fine.
certain cease and desist order that we prevent us from...
A little one. But I can see what you mean, though. They are really dark, so the print's, like, a bit off. But we wasn't lying when he said I have all of Noodle's stuff. Because it's here.
Even
they can't tell that there's people from that. There's no way I can cover up the people.
You can't see it there, it's fine.
There's no people on that, alright? There's no people on there at all. You couldn't possibly see the characters like that at all. Right? It's fine. But the back of it, the back looks pretty swanky.
It's nice.
It's nice.
So I designed trading cards.
Let's see if I can not show a person. Hang on. There we go.
To give something away that
Jesus
people
Christ.
to
I'm trying to show one that's not a person.
to socialise. So I basically created cards that had characters on, locations, organisations.
Great.
Not orgs as in player orgs, but like the UE and stuff like that. And I post about it on Twitch, and obviously because of trademarks and stuff like that, legal got involved, but it wasn't a case of trademarks. They were fine with trademarks with me creating a limited quantity of them. It was more a case of they were worried about the likeness of the actors. Now, I used to be a photographer, so I actually get that. Whenever you take a photo of when you take a photo of somebody in a public place or whatever, actually not in a public place. Public place is absolutely fine, but in a private place, you're supposed to get them to sign a waiver to say it's fine for you to use this for whatever. To be fair, Stick could have completely shot me down, and it was a little bit scary at first because it was all very legal. I thought I was genuinely in trouble, and I was stressed and scared. But Toast, the guy from Legal, he was actually really, really cool about it. And when he explained to me, it was more that they were worried about them getting into trouble about the likeness of the characters. Like, I really got it. So I decided not to give the trading cards out. They said that I could give out the ones that weren't characters. But I'm going to hold off till I go to another event. And I wasn't overly happy with the print anyway. But the story that I'm getting to put that aside for a second, while I was there and I was monitoring the audio, a lady from SIG came over to me and started chatting to me, and I took my headphones off and I started chatting to her, and we must have chatted for a good 45 minutes. Turned out she was head of marketing. And I explained this whole scenario with the trading cards. She was already aware of that scenario, but she didn't realise who I was.
She handcuffed you and said taking you to trading standards.
But the thing that really...
she got your address, where you live...
She said to me, she genuinely thought that it was a fantastic idea. And obviously she spoke about it publicly, so I'm happy to say it on the stream. The one thing that she mentioned was she loved the idea of the trading cards, and she loves the idea of when there are Star Citizen events, having merchandise like the trading cards to give away for free at the events.
Yeah.
So Star Citizen will be making them soon.
I have her email address, so I'm going to be talking to Toast. I'm going to be talking to her to kind of see if we can work something out. But I spent 45 minutes talking to her, and on top of that, the one thing I can say is for a long time I've been criticising the Star Citizen merchandise. They actually have a merchandising team now. There is merchandise coming.
Good.
Whatever we think we can do, they can do better. I think that's rule of thumb we have to understand.
No, I think whatever they think they can do, we can do better.
Oh,
that's
really?
the way I roll.
Well,
yeah, I think 100%. What Moist was doing
day,
was much better than they would come up with anything.
That's my view on it. Anyway,
so the one thing I've learned from the last few days is they're happy to accept. Speaking to the person we were hanging out with yesterday, for example, I don't want to mention names.
No names.
Like, they are really happy to take suggestions, and the chances are they will act on those suggestions. And at the end of the day, they're only human, and they don't always think of the creative things that we think of. So if we have a great idea, just throw it at them. It's like...
No, I don't think so. Well, I think what you did was you did all the right things. You had an idea, You executed the idea well.
I should have approached them for permission to use the trademark, but because it was I should have, but because it was such a short space of time, I didn't think to do it.
I think it's really awesome. I think it's really awesome that you had an idea, and that you actually produced a product with that idea. You know how many people have ideas? Ideas are a dime a dozen, and you like carried it all the way through to a physical item.
Yeah.
And
that's the point.
I honestly think you were better off doing it the way you did, even though it got shut down. I think you did it the best way because, like I said, unless they've changed the way the marketing was happening, there have been people in the past that have actually asked permission first and they've just flat out said no. So by you having a physical product to show them and say, look, this is what I did, they at least said no, but said this looks cool, rather than just flat out no. So, I don't know.
Well, I think you would have got a flat out no, honestly, I believe, if you just sent them an email asking them.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. But to be fair, like in life, it's not just a starting thing, it's not just a CIG thing. If you're a younger person, you probably don't yet, but much of life is about who you know. And like,
just make sure you put keep the Asylum logo just on the corner of every
card. With the QR code on it.
It's fine.
And like, I think this weekend, I didn't go this weekend necessarily to network. I went to have a good time, but because of everything that happened, it turned into an amazing networking event. And I've got a lot of contacts now who I have amazing ideas. Like, I'm not necessarily a marketing person. I just am somebody who's interested in marketing, and I have ideas, and I'm going to throw them at SIG. And whatever happens, happens. I'm definitely somebody who I like to give solutions before I explain the problems. So I will, if I have an idea of something, I'll design it and I'll throw it at them to show them how good of an idea it is. So we'll see what happens, really.
Yeah. No, I think it's great. I think we need to do more of that. I think there needs to be a lot, obviously with a grain of salt, in the sense of like, we don't want to get the community in general or the company in general in trouble, but this innovation, bottom-up innovation, where we're pushing like this external merchandise, or like, I don't know. I mean, I think there's a lot of value that can be added there.
Yeah, absolutely.
People doing it all the time in all different facets. It's just great to see. I like to see products. I like to see merchandise. People do it. We see all the time videos being produced. We see models being produced. We see all sorts of cool things being done. So, I mean, I think it's good. I think it's great that you had the idea and, like I said, execute it. I'm hoping we'll see more. And I'm always of the mind of ask for forgiveness rather than, that's the way I always kind of roll. And usually you progress more by breaking boundaries and pushing the rules rather than just obeying the rules all the time. So just keep with that attitude. I think you'll be fine.
I think it's amazing how much the community contributes to the development of the game. I mean, CIG does a lot, but like, just think about, I was talking to, I can't remember, I think it was Dave actually, comes to languages, and why is languages all the things in English in the game, and why it's not his area, so I'm not gonna whatever. We just talking in general about it.
Blame Dave.
Yeah, I know, right? And a lot of it came back to like, well, do we want to spend the money on that right now? There's a lot of rework if we have to change things, all that kind of jazz, right? But then I was mentioning the fact that you go on, like, and I've seen French streamers on stream. French streamers are literally translating stuff in documents, emails that go out, things that go out, and the community is actually doing a lot of the work for CIG. And I think that I think that's awesome. It helps.
Guys, we're not on about Dave the bartender.
No,
different. So many cool things out
Dave the bartender knew everything. Not only did he pour pints, he knew Star Citizen to the ground. So this desk is, I just wanted to show, so we were talking about community and making stuff. This was JR Designs and Fabrications. And so he started off, I don't know how he actually made the first things for Star Citizen, but he made the. That was it. He was at BritizenCon the second year, first year, and he made. No.
So it started off with a Reddit post, because I remember seeing the first Reddit post. He put a post on Reddit. They've taken them out of the game now, but near the airlocks there were essentially cubicles that you could approach to change your armor. He created one of those, took a picture of it, and put it on Reddit. It literally just
He didn't just take a picture of it. He actually took it to BritizenCon, the first one.
Yeah, that's true. But he posted it on Reddit first, then took it to BritizenCon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and so from that, it was like obviously it was an exact replica of the in-game locker, and CRG was just blown away by it. So they actually stole it and put it in their office after the first BritizenCon. Well, I didn't steal it, but he let them have it, and so it's been to a few of the different studios. And then because they saw that work, they then asked him to go and make the Gamescom desks, which are very similar to the ones that you can see in the picture now. So he was then employed by them to go and make these desks for Gamescom, which he did, which was like replica of inside the stations and things. So he did that, and then after that, he then made the Raven, that big, massive Raven that you saw.
Beautiful, beautiful ship. Yeah,
absolutely beautiful model, and apparently it weighs a ton as well. It takes about 4 people to lift it. We was hoping to have it this BritizenCon, but I just don't think the logistics were there to do it.
I don't think they can fit it in the vans.
Yeah, pretty much. So now he's employed by CIG to make stuff for their events and everything else. So at this event, BritizenCon 2018, he made these desks. He made the desks where the tournament computers were on. He made the Grim Hex. We did show it somewhere. If I find the pictures, I'll link it up again. But he made the Grim Hex the Grim Hex consoles, and he put the Wing Commander 1 and 2 in it. And then he made the big, massive desk that was at the end as well, that all the devs sat behind.
So, just a quick one for anyone in chat, by the way. We've got the guys here. If you've got any questions you want to kind of throw at them, exclamation question. We have open chat. We will go through the questions as we go along as well. So if they're relevant to the conversation, that way I will ask the questions to the guys. So if you have any questions about BritizenCon, if you weren't there, you want to ask them about anything they saw or anything specific that you maybe are curious about, please throw the questions in there.
Even if it's super top secret and we're not allowed to talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. Anything. Feel free. Go ahead. Just ask the question, and we'll try and get to them. I think the first question I've had so far actually is let's have a look. We have from Jen. She says, "Have the few and the moist been sober at all since Friday?"
I mean, I did drive today for like 2 hours. Yeah. Absolutely sober because I don't condone drinking and driving. So yes.
And how was that first experience driving on the right side of the road? It
wasn't technically my first experience. I did it in Scotland a couple of years ago. But every time you have to readjust, it's like a new experience. And so I'm just like, and this is actually my first time driving a manual where I'm sitting on the wrong side of the card. So I'm shifting with this hand instead of this hand. But thankfully the pedals are still the same. So I don't have to retrain my feet or anything like that. So
Yeah. No, that's when I came to America and I was like driving, it was kind of weird. But I just got an automatic like the rest of them. So
yeah, I wanted an automatic, but they wanted to charge me an extra like 40 pounds a day for an automatic, and I'm like, I'm sorry. I mean,
no, I'll work out how this wobbly stick works.
Yeah.
Oh man,
good shit. Actually, we got. Speaking, let's just check it. Question. Oh, okay, here we go. A question from Sneaky Spy. He asks everyone, he says, what do you think to the devs confirming the ocean and coastline biomes? I think is what he's trying to say. I think that's freaking awesome, personally. Oceans and coastline biome. I think that's fantastic. I mean, I would be surprised if they wouldn't, because at the end of the day, they're building huge planets with massive types of ecosystems, so you're gonna have oceans, you're gonna have coastlines, so it makes sense.
Yeah. So I mean, I wasn't part of the interview that was part of the stream, but in general, I had some. There's going to be multiple types of biomes and planets. I mean, and they're going to be varying and interesting. I have no idea to what depth or level and how that's going to affect weather or how it's going to affect anything, but I think we can expect something rich and high fidelity. I think that's what we can expect, right?
Exactly. Anyone else on that one? Sure.
I had referenced like something when I was talking to one of the devs. I had referenced something along the lines of, you got mountains, and you got the plains. You know what I mean? Like, and they were like laughed at me. They're like, you think those are biomes? Like, that was kind of the mindset. So,
sorry, for the sake of the chat, can we just prove we're not in the same room for a second? Like, people keep thinking we're in the same room.
But we're like,
yeah, exactly.
It does look like I thought you were in the same room as well.
There we go.
My mind. It's just blown my mind. I thought you guys were actually sharing a room. It's so cute.
I'm used to blowing minds, so it's absolutely fine. Stop stroking bad news, Baron's unicorn. Biomes. So in terms of biomes, the first game that really stood out to me with biomes was, and nobody judged me, Ark. Like when they introduced like the snow biome to, I think it was the north of the original island, it really did blow my mind. So I think in terms of Star Citizen, that is generally something I'm looking forward to, like just being able to travel from like a desert biome to a forest biome to a snow biome. Like that's something I'm genuinely really excited for.
Dave looks like just like the super cool dude, right? I'm just looking at the pictures now.
What's Mac doing?
I reckon we
got pictures of Dave.
We have Dave.
He saw you boys.
That's Dave.
Dave
coming in. He saw you a mile away coming in.
Oh man,
he saw me a mile away. My fucking hotel bill. Look, you can see all the empty. Oh my god! If I scroll down, you can see. Oh, you can just about see.
He just reminds me of the guy, like of Batman's.
All the empty glasses as well from before.
Alfred,
he was like Alfred. Yeah, he was so cool.
Fucking Dave.
And he was genuinely interested. When he found out that we were content creators, he was interested. He was asking questions. He doesn't understand the internet, but he was still asking questions. Okay, stop judging the amount of beers. Okay.
Man, stop looking at those glasses over there.
I was just showing
I have a question. How many empty calories have you all consumed over the course of the last 4 days?
Don't even ask. Let's just say all that slight riding I was doing beforehand has gone.
No.
I think you're okay. I think the skinny ones are okay. You boys I think Mac. I'm surprised Mac must have got shit face.
Mac. Right. So something I've learned over the last few days is
eat some meat.
I was expecting. For some reason, I thought that Miz was going to be short and dumpy. He turns up on my doorstep, right? I open my front door. Wow. He gets out of his car, and he actually looks like a cool dude. Okay.
Actually, you were so surprised. He's a cool dude.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
That blew my mind.
You're not going to get your computer back.
And then I see.
Yeah.
And then
fuck your computer.
I finally get to meet Matt.
There's a mute button you can use.
He turns out to be a vegan, a really skinny vegan. And I just wasn't expecting that whatsoever.
Let's not make fun of
No, I'm not saying.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with vegans. Everybody has the right to be wrong.
Everybody has a problem.
I wasn't expecting him to be.
We can make fun of
as weedy.
They make fun. They make fun of. Vegans make fun of us a lot.
He let you down.
We can do it the other way around.
To be honest, Mac is just a party.
He's hilarious.
24/7.
Hilarious.
Exactly like you imagine on stream. Like
you can't offend him. You can't offend him.
Yeah, fucking yeah, exactly.
But we can
He's
try.
also Scottish. Very Scottish.
You can try.
Wow. TheFew just kept insisting he was Scottish regardless. It's just like, you sound Scottish. Everybody's going, no, you don't. You go, yeah, you sound Scottish.
But I agreed with TheFew. So.
Nobody else does. Even Dave was like, nah. And then Dave started doing Scottish impressions behind the bar. He was just like, I'm Scottish. It's like, oh my God. Dave was a legend. We should have just invited him to the thing the next day.
So I'm really tempted to email the Hilton just to sound like positive praise about Dave because he was just so
We should actually raise funds to send him a present.
Oh my God.
I'm not sure what. Maybe trading cards for Star Citizen.
Just send him a picture of all of you guys.
Send him the one we took.
Big poster. You guys.
To our bestest fan, Dave. You call us rock stars.
He did.
Yeah. I can feel that. You guys, you know what you said? You felt like rock stars. You were probably having the swag. You had the whack.
It was insane.
You had to work. You had
It's what drink does to you. It makes you feel like that.
Drink makes you crazy. Okay, so we've got a question from Dak Shui, I think it's called. Says to everyone, being a young gamer, I never had a chance to play the original Wing Commander games. I'm wanting to play through them, but where would you recommend I start?
So, first of all, at BritizenCon, right, the trade terminals from Star Citizen, they had those at BritizenCon, but they were being used to play Wing Commander. They looked amazing. But I have asked the same question. So, piece of advice for everybody. Origin, everybody hates Origin, but if you subscribe to Origin, you can actually get all of the Wing Commander games for your subscription price, well, for free. So I actually started playing Wing Commander, the original Wing Commander, and I found it really, really difficult, which didn't surprise me because I've gone back and played original games I played as a kid, and they are really difficult compared to today. So I actually chatted to a couple of guys at London Bar Citizen, and they suggested, I think it was Wing Commander 3, basically the Wing Commander that Mark Hamill finally appears in for the first time. That's the Wing Commander that you want to start playing. So I'm actually going to play it as well because I kind of want to learn some of the heritage of Star Citizen. So
I would say go on YouTube, watch those videos with other people playing it. Watch that for 5 minutes while you do something else, and then you'll understand all the stories, cutscenes, and you'll understand the game. And then you
don't bother playing it.
Don't bother playing it because seriously, in my opinion, I know people like old school games. Some people like old school games have a meaning, but genuinely, there's a reason why shit progresses. It's like people who drive knackered old cars and kind of think they're cool. It's like, nah, they're not cool, dude, because that shit is broken all the time. Like, it's not cool.
I don't know. There are classics out there,
well,
like the Jag.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, if you play that, you're playing it for nostalgia reasons, right? So you might play it and enjoy it because you've kind of seen it before. But if you're completely new to it, you'll probably play it and just think, what's the point? Like, you're not getting that nostalgia kick, you're just getting an old game. And I think that's the difference between people that go back and play a retro game. Because I actually did it, I streamed Jumpgate a long time ago, the game that I played, the space game that I played, it was an MMO type thing with 3 sides. And, I mean, like 3 factions. And I remembered it, so it was like, oh, this is cool. And I was playing Jumpgate and showing it off on stream, and everybody else was just looking at it going, what is this old shit? So it was like nostalgia value for me, but everybody else was looking at it going, well, it's just pixels, shooting pixels, and it's not that fun. But I was trying to explain that this was like my Star Citizen back then, so it's, I think nostalgia play it, otherwise probably don't bother.
Descent's Free Space was amazing, and so many people never played Free Space, and that is the game, because when you start those games, you start off with a training instructor who teaches you what to do. And like it genuinely felt like being in the military. By the way, guys, just a reminder, if you have questions, because I see people mentioning my name in chat, ! Question in chat, please. And then we will get around to...
We'll go through questions as we go along.
100% of them.
We can go through. But yeah, so here's a question though to people here. Like, when was the last time you played I mean, apart from Moist, but do you genuinely make a point to play old games, or do you? I mean, I personally don't. I mean, anything older than like about 2 or 3 years for me personally. Yeah, but that's because you work in a recycling place where.
God, you passed that through rooms.
Wow.
Oh yeah, we're not the same. Sorry.
Server meshing.
Server meshing. Damn it. Illusion blown.
Server meshing.
You're such a bunch of liars. It's like the whole world. My whole world.
Did you actually fall for that madness?
My world is now blown again.
I'm so good at this.
Madness actually fell for that when you did that trick. Look, I'm actually in a different room with myself. Look.
This is a really good game, guys.
Moist rocked up with his Game Boy and then turned around and said, "Oh, I haven't actually got any games for it."
No. I had games for it, but when I turned up at BritizenCon and people saw it, they were more impressed by the official original Game Boy case that it arrived in rather than the actual. Because anybody has the Game Boy, but like there's not that many people who actually had the original carry case. So yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. The thing is, the Game Boy is kind of.
Like the games are still amazing though. Like I'm playing Super Mario Land at the moment, and it's just so much fun. But the thing that really, like, I really
nostalgia
that gives me the awkward boner is the music. It's like the moment I hear the music, like I get really excited, and it reminds me of.
It's like when you play old school EA games and you get EA games or whatever. EA, it's in the game. Sorry, I got it all wrong. There you go. Or Sega. When you get the Sega, when the Sega comes on, Sega. I always remember that as a kid.
I bought a Mega Drive from work this week. I can't wait to play on my Mega Drive.
What picture is this?
Oh yeah, that's
Sonic.
It was on about. Moist was on about things. Never mind.
So I thought you were supposed to be the responsible one, Miz.
No.
Oh.
Where did that come in? No, I just tried to make things actually work, whereas Mac just sat there and went, I don't know how it works.
Disco Lando's in chat. Disco Lando's in chat.
He's like, you know, he was probably like Max.
Don't mention anything about Star Citizen going live.
Damn, we were just about to break all them NDAs that the devs told us on the day.
Love you.
What was that? You guys were telling us all about the new latest like ocean planets and like new spaceships that are coming out.
Well, when we interviewed some of the devs, we did try to slip them up. It was like, so in the latest ATV that you didn't see, they did talk about this. So what do you think of that? And they were like, the devs were extremely good on the day. They seemed to give a good amount of information and not tell us anything at the same time.
Not tell you anything.
I'll hold this.
Here, hang on.
I think they get it all the time. I mean, I went on Spectrum for the first time the other day, and I've in terms of the general like with the chat where people talk all the time, the live chat, and I watched Matt Sherman single-handedly, basically going out every single text or messages with a flamethrower, like literally trying to calm everybody down in chat, and like trying to like, because people were saying like in the chat they were going. Like they were like saying they know shit, like they were saying things like as if they were facts. And then Matt's coming in going, when did we say this? We didn't say this. This is not true. And then literally like 5 seconds later, there's another comment, and then he's like, no, not true. This is this. I was like, oh my god, guys. I was like, I wrote in chat like, I'd hate to be a CIG person on this chat.
I have no idea what these two are doing at the moment.
I don't know.
Today, so
it's the Holy Grail.
It's literally the Holy Grail. So
but there's two of them.
So after BritizenCon, obviously coming over from New York is a bit of a chore. Mm-hmm. So myself and TheFew are currently touring the UK, and today we went to Conwy Castle. So we have goblets, and nice. We also have some Pandarian bourbon. Which is by the way, dragon. Just gonna say this bottle.
Oh, bring it closer.
Right,
bring it closer to the screen. See if
this is a limited edition, and it's covered in velvet. Just
soft and fuzzy.
Isn't it St. George? Isn't it St. George's Day today?
It is St. George's Day today. So does that mean we have a Star Citizen promotion, just like we had in St. Patrick's Day?
Patron saint of England. St.
There we go.
So do we have a St. George's Day promotion?
Didn't England abandon the cat? Oh, never mind. We don't have to get into that.
Let's not get into the point. Okay.
Mind you, they are also both in Wales at the moment, so they don't really care about St. Patrick's Day, St. George's Day even.
St. George's Day. So hang on.
Thank you. That's perfect.
So I don't know if anyone in chat actually listened to the two panels that were on at BritizenCon. Unfortunately, like I said, we didn't hear them, but I hear that they were really good.
Yeah, the people at BritizenCon.
I heard them.
Hear them.
I heard them, but I was so busy like working. The first panel was so many amazing things talked about.
So much NDA stuff shared.
No, not even NDA. It was totally. I could totally share it if I could remember most of it. The only thing I remember from the first panel, literally, and I'm literally going through my memory what was talked about. The only thing I can really remember right now is they talked about the mining. They were talking about how the mechanics of like coming into a planet, seeing the rocks, and then having certain rocks be mineable and certain rocks not be mineable, and having appendages and all that jazz.
Appendages.
You know, I use the word appendage by like. Sorry,
Wilbur. Put the video. I was going to say, whilst we're talking about mining, why don't we just throw the ATV video and then we can talk about mining. Everyone get hyped and chat about mining.
Yeah, exactly. But all I remember from that video is they mentioned specifically that they could leverage that same technology across lots of different gameplay mechanics. Like, they basically built the technology once, Bunsen says confirmed. TheFew has to. Bunsen, stop. No. You're fired. Just kidding. I love you. Okay. They said, for example, you could be going into a forest and some trees might have fruit growing on them, and you could pick the fruit from that tree. Ooh. As they said. For example, it wasn't a guaranteed
fruit picking guaranteed. Game, well, Brian did confirm that we could grow hops and brew beer. So
wait, whoa. He confirmed we could wear lycra. Just saying.
I mean, why wouldn't you do? Like, if you're going to do drugs, you're going to do booze, right? I mean, come on, they go together. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's going to be some hop growing on some of these farms in the future at some point.
I'm just going to say now, this Pendaryn is pretty much moonshine. Podcast is going to go to shit very quickly.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Man, right? Anyway, but no, they showed you. I mean, they showed us the rocks and ATV with the rock kind of like exploding, and the way you have to kind of manage the weapon and stuff, which I thought was fantastic. That was so cool. So it was just nice. It was nice to see mining for the first time because they've talked about it. They haven't really shown us any of the animations, so it was quite cool to see it.
There's two things that stood out to me, right? So I talked to Matt Lightfoot about this. The one thing that I'm not anonymous. The audio was phenomenal for the laser beam, absolutely phenomenal. It genuinely sounds so good, and as you're powering up the weapon, you genuinely get a good sense of how close you are to blowing the gases within the asteroid just from the audio, and I think that's genuinely phenomenal. And I'm not going to go into any more detail about that. But the second thing that I noticed from the video that a lot of people noticed, I'm sure, is right at the end of the video is they purposely added wing blown off, or I'm paraphrasing, just to reiterate that, you can actually really damage your ship by not managing this energy correctly.
Do you know what, though? What was interesting is that was bits, sorry, miss, that bit was bits blowing off, causing damage to your ship. I'd be interested to see if that mechanic, like you're talking about, moving it into other things. When you blow up a ship at the moment, if you fly into a ship, obviously it makes sense. You hit the debris and it causes damage. But I wonder if you blow up a ship, a big ship, if they could do that with rocks, who's to say parts of the ships won't cause damage to you if you're too close?
I think that was always the plan, wasn't it, though, for the bigger ships to do that if you cut in an explosion. Yeah,
I thought so.
Yeah, and again, like, chat, I mean, I see some comments in chat. I'm not going to call them out specifically, but this is phase 0. So this isn't even, they have multiple parallels of types of mining they're working on. Like, this isn't like, we're going to have to go around and find a rock on a planet to mine it. There's like, they're working on different types of mining mechanics that are much, even in parallel or advanced versions of even this. So, I mean...
Yeah, that's a gun. That's the neutron.
So if you watch the interview that we did with Matt Lightfoot, which, like I said, will be on the YouTube, we did have a really good conversation about the mining mechanic, because he's actually producing and working on that at the moment. So we managed to go into quite good detail on that, and yes, he did confirm that was not the gun that you're going to be using.
If you're worried about mining at all, don't be, because the one thing that I've really taken away from the weekend is the people working on this are extremely passionate about it, So I'm pretty sure, like, obviously you're never going to please all of the people all the time, but and the only thing we can guarantee is the first version of it's buggy. So the first version is always going to be basic, it's buggy, but ultimately it will turn into what most...
The first version is going to be planet-based only, and he did reiterate that quite a few times. Because we did go into the discussion about asteroids, because where you see there when it was blowing up and we was talking about it damaging your ship, I said, well, that brings a whole new mechanic of, can you troll people by mining the same rock that they're mining and causing it to blow up and blow their ship up? And he was like, we hadn't thought of that. But rely on the community to think of good. And I was like, that's quite a good weapon. Let's blow other people's rocks up and hold them to ransom. So
the question is that a gameplay that should be allowed? And in my mind, it kind sense. You know?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
Yeah. So that, I mean, that's something they're going to have to work at. But he said, you know, we was kind of talking ashwards, actually saying that, yes, the first iteration will be rocks on a planet. Another thing that he kind of confirmed, which is that you can't mine everything. So it's going to be specific rocks that are able to be mined. You're not going to be able to just go around and start blowing up the planet by mining all the way through it. So I thought that was interesting.
I hope they don't keep with the lots of text, if I'm being completely honest. You know, where it says, mine of a rock, mine of a rock, mine of a rock, mine of a rock. Oh, that was painful.
That is literally dev tools.
I hope they go colours.
Don't worry about that.
No. Well, it's just because when we go to the planets, we're already surrounded by loads of text, you know, saying this is Hurston, this is the Art Corp, this is the... You often, like I've said before on my stream, when I'm flying or in a dogfighting situation doing this particular mission, I want to be able to switch all that other crap off.
I think that's key as to, like, they even talked about, unfortunately, but the video, they talked about having the audible cues as to what's happening while you're mining. And I think that's so interesting because they understand that we're overloaded with, like, looking at visuals of, like, understanding what's going on with things. And they want to be able to give us feedback in other ways that give us a sense
of why the audio is so important.
Yeah, exactly. So I think they understand that we can't look and read everything all the time. So they're trying to find other ways.
If you have a sledgehammer and you smash a rock, right? You don't get a heads up. Oh my god, that picture.
This is us trying to get secret information out the devs. It's like
probably best that we don't show this picture.
Someone in chat even said they would donate a few £100 if we could get the devs drunk enough to reveal stuff.
Probably best that we don't show
challenge
this picture.
Accepted.
But we don't promote excessive drinking of any means. By
At
the way.
all. This is lemonade that we're all drinking there.
Yeah, it's lemonade.
Shandies.
No, lemonade. Shots of lemonade. It's all good.
What was it? I'm looking really close now. Hang on.
But in real life, if you smash a rock with a sledgehammer, you don't get heads-up display saying all these bits of rock are in these locations. But what would that gameplay? Is if the person that you have scanning has to scan down those small bits of rock and work out where they are, so you can collect them. You know, it adds more gameplay. So there we go.
No, I think this first phase of mining is going to be really interesting because it creates the gold rush. Let's get everybody out there looking for good materials, and let's see what happens when multiple people try to find the same material, or like, can they find the material? This is really going to be a mass experiment to see how mining might play out. Yeah. And you're going to see a mass amount of balance and changes coming quickly after the first version.
There's going to be so much feedback in terms of not just people as well are going to go ape shit on feedback, I'm sure, on the mining, because mining is a big part of what a lot of gamers do. It's a very casual way of playing the game. It's very relaxing. It's nice. I mean, I probably will do a bit of mining now and again when I just chill, you know. And I think it'll be a lot of feedback will be thrown at CIG on mining.
Yeah. And speaking of mining as being critical, actually, this is slightly unrelated, but I was just reading an article literally today about companies in the world right now that have invested hundreds of $millions in actually mining in outer space. They're like, this is something that's like not happening in the distant future, but they're literally investigating right now as part of humanity. And they say, look how much can be mined in asteroids and stuff in space. And I think it's just so cool that, like, right, we're working on mining in the game, and it's going to be critical. It's critical to the future of real world, and it's going to be critical in the game mechanics, I think, moving forward. It's a very base economic like thing that's going to provide quite a bit of gameplay for secondary things, you know, like mercenary work and whatnot. So,
question then on the mining. At the moment, we have the Prospector.
Yeah.
Do you? I mean, they've shown us briefly, I think, a video which looked like it had a tracked vehicle that looked like it could be either a salvage or another type of land-based mining vehicle, which was interesting. Briefly on a picture. I can't remember exactly when, but there was definitely something interesting or tasty. Kind of, I think I posted it was on Twitter or something. I think I did a retweet and said this looked really my kind of ugly. I think it was. Can't remember what it was, but it was like green and it had tracks.
So
anyway,
you know, in ATV where there's the beam and then there's the
Why are they different?
Sorry, what we
don't know why they're different.
You're having your own little conversation. So you on about in ATV where one was a beam and one was like a gun.
One was
so Matt told us that basically they were just trying out different effects. So they're not different mining lasers or anything. They were just trying out different effects as they were going through. So what we saw. So he said to heavily stress that what we saw in ATV was work in progress.
Yeah.
Like massive work in progress. So yeah.
Can I just say, No Man's Sky has the same different choices in weapons. It has the laser beam and it has
interestingly enough, Matt did say that, and this is what we've kind of discussed before, and I mentioned it to him as well in other games, in that he played and tested, and they said one of the meetings I had, it was a big meeting for like mining, and said, what games have you played? What games have got mining, and which ones are enjoyable and which ones are crap, and then which things make mining enjoyable in other games, and which makes them crap. So they looked at other games for inspiration on how to make mining fun in this, because at the end of the day, there's plenty of games that do mining which are just extremely boring, and you just turn up, click a button, and then you've got your resources.
To me, mining would be fun when you have, but not just risk and reward, but where you have a high risk and high reward. Like if I know like the best that I can do when I go out mining is like 500 alpha UEC for like, an hour worth of my work, I'm gonna be like, you know what I mean? Like, but if I know like if I risk everything and I go out and I'm looking for that super rare mineral and I'm in a highly contested zone where I have to be super stealthy and I'm like looking out and I have an extra friend who's doing all the extra work to make sure I don't get caught or found, and I can make like 10,000 alpha UEC in an hour, like that is where the gameplay becomes exciting, because there's a lot at stake. There's a lot, I hope they get that kind of like extreme parabolic.
I agree 100% with you. I think that, the idea for me is like, is the risk and the reward. If you could go to like a dying star or something with the gas, and you're going to go gas mining, for example, and you're a pilot, as a pilot, and your skill is being a great pilot, being able to navigate, be able to see what you need to mine and what's not to mine, and there's the real risk that you're going to be blown up, and you're like skimming it, and the ship is shaking.
Yeah.
The shields are dropping, but you can get that last little bit, and then you pull up, and then you got a fully loaded ship full of all this good shit. That for me is like super like, exciting.
I want to have a gameplay where it's like there's certain regions of space with some minerals or something you can mine that's so valuable and so dangerous that you don't want to hire an NPC. You're like, look, I need my best friend who understands engineering and how to make shields and upgrade certain things and overclock certain things, just the right specifications that we can just like make bank, like almost like I'm just imagining Ocean's 11. You want to recruit the right 11 guys who are capable of pulling off the perfect heist, you know what I mean, when it comes to mineral extraction, that other people would just be like, I can't believe they made 1 million some alpha UEC because they just tweaked the systems just right. You know what I mean? Where they were all, they didn't,
I think that brings up two good points on that as well, though, because you got firstly the AI. You can hire different AI to do different jobs. Like, are you going to get really shit AI that ends up blowing you up because they can't mine properly? You set them to mine and they just overcharge a rock, and you're like, no, what have you done? So there's like that. Like how it's going to be interesting to see how they balance that out on an AI version of a miner. And then the second thing is like the multi-crew aspect of mining. So we kind of touched on that with Matt, and I think what he was kind of alluding to, because I was trying to see whether would multi-crew mining be more fun, or would you be able to get rarer resources or something if you used a multi-crew, a bigger mining ship or whatever, compared to, say, a small prospector. And it seems like it's more likely going to be you're just going to be more efficient, which technically could still mean that you could get better stuff, like you're saying, TheFew, in terms of if you're using a skilled crew that can highlight different parts of the rock and narrow it down and get good technicians to do that, then you could technically mine quicker, faster, and better resources. So I'm looking forward to the multi-crew aspect of it, but he said he didn't really touch on it.
Yeah, in my mind, the really big ships like the Orion are going to be sweeping ships. Like you're going to go and you're going to say, look, because they're going to be a quantity, right? So you're going to be like, wow, this whole asteroid field has 1% gold and like 10% aluminum, and you're going to be like, well, how can I manage my energy efficiency and extract the minerals in such a way that I get the maximum profit, but I'm going to have relatively low margins but high total return? Whereas smaller ships like the Prospector, and I'm theory crafting at the moment, but the smaller ships like the Prospector, you're going to be like, look, screw the aluminum, screw the whatever, I'm going for the fucking rare. Sorry, British people, aluminium.
You're in England now, motherfucker. You're in England now. You say
We had this conversation already. It's all good.
I'm gonna go for the like crazy ass like, cause like in a prospector I can only hold like I don't know how much it is. I'm gonna throw a number out there. Don't crucify me, chat. Like 20 outfit or 20.
Only 20?
Yeah, exactly. SCU. And I'm like, oh, I go 20 SCU. Like I'm not gonna SCU with something that's easy to mine. I'm gonna get the highest margin item I can find. Right, you know what I mean? Where it's like, here's how much energy I expended. Here's how much money I'm gonna get out of it. Right, and that might be like fitting into weird tiny crevices that the big miners that would normally want to get there can't go. The danger spots, the needle in the haystack. And I think that's what's kind of cool is you can do the big giant mining, which is kind of cool. You'll get a lot of high volume, reasonable margin, or you can do the like kind of like scalpel work with like a team of select like high qualified friends. And get the rare minerals you'd never be able to get.
You have to, right? Because if you just want to play as a solo person, or not really want to be part of a big org, want to be a small org, but you still want to be able to make good money. You're going to have to do that, right? You can't be in the massive org and have the the huge squads of miners running around just mining away. You need that, right?
I don't know. I'm not sure if we're going to get that though. I mean, if you've got like an Orion that can just absorb that rock, that like the prospector would have to go and dart into a certain spot of it, but it's like the Orion would just suck the whole thing up. I think it's going to be more efficiency. I don't know.
It might not be able to get
it's
in
possible,
there. Like
but I think it's. I mean, from what Matt alluded to, it seemed more like it was just going to be more based around efficiency. So there's no way a small ship was going to earn more money than a big ship anyway.
Now think about how real mining works in the real world. Like you know what I mean? Like big ass mining operation. There's a lot of energy expended in like taking like for gold, for example. They have different types of methods of extracting gold from the ground. I've never done it myself, but I've read a lot about it. And you use the big
for it in a river.
You use the big mining operations. Yeah, like you're using big mining operations. You have all this equipment. You can handle a lot of volume of dirt, right? But you have to expend gas or gasoline to like run those engines and stuff like that. Now, just to get to the spot where the high density gold is, you might waste a ton of energy. Why not just mine everything, right? Like, whereas if you're a gold panner and you're using your own hands and you're like literally scooping dirt into a pot and like sifting for gold, you're not gonna sift the entire like field, right, of dirt just for all the gold. You're gonna go to the spot where your manual labor is gonna get you the highest return. And so I think that's the difference between like enterprise level gold mining, where you're literally filtering all of the ground, versus like gold panning, where you're like one guy with a pan. You're gonna go where you get. It's a lot of work. So you're gonna go where the gold's the densest, right? So I think that's gonna be the difference between. I mean, I hope that's going to be the difference between.
I see what you're saying. I don't know if it will, but I get what you're saying, and I kind of hope that as well, because it adds a little bit more gameplay for the smaller ships rather than making them just redundant. That's more of the thing, because you don't want to feel like you said, you have to, because there are, like Madness said, to some people that are just not going to be in a big org, so you don't want to feel that you have to be in a massive ship to do stuff.
Yeah.
So I do agree with that.
I hope they get that. We'll wait and see. It's one of those we wait and see, right? But it's just exciting. I think it's nice to see a new game mechanic. They're clearly working on it. I mean, it's going to be in 3.2. Is it 2 or 3?
Matt guaranteed it to be in 3.2. I made him guarantee it on stream.
So yeah, I mean, I know that I know that they wanted to get it in for 3.0 back in the day when we were at the last BritizenCon. I mean, I think Brian Chambers was talking about it then. So, there's a year later, and they've now got what we've just seen. So I'm hoping. Yeah.
Well, no, I'll defend him in case it actually gets him in trouble. But he guaranteed that his team would work to the best of their ability, and they seemed very confident that it would be.
He guaranteed that they would deliver unless Chris Roberts and Aaron Roberts prioritize it.
Yeah, they turn and say no. we literally had this. We did have Matt for like almost 2 hours and grilled the hell out of him. So by the end of it, he was probably just saying stuff to show his face. Most of it was like,
"Let me leave! Let me leave!"
Why are you saying this? Why am I saying this? It's like that constantly for about 2 hours.
Oh man, good stuff. OMG.
Although I think he was just as scared of Luke, to be honest. So.
Yeah, I think he was. Let's move on. Moving on.
Actually, did anyone? Because like, there's a little bit about bounty hunting missions you can now do to a degree in the game at the moment within the game. Did you guys ever talk about bounty hunting with any of the developers there? Or they talk about?
No, but if you had been there, that question probably would have been asked.
Probably would have. Yeah, you're talking to people that don't bounty hunt.
You had the IFCS dude standing right behind you, and I was screaming at the thing. Hit him!
Were you
leg.
not in chat?
I was like, literally, I was.
Were you not in chat?
That's the man. No,
were you not in chat?
I was trying to chat.
When he did say I'm in charge of IFCS, I did say, "Oh my God, madness will kill you."
Yeah, it would have been. Okay. It would have been the take.
I know,
Luke sneak up behind him and seen a chokehold, and then it would have been to the ground.
So the moment that Luke came over and I encouraged him to come over, and I realised as he was approaching the screen that he was the IFCS guy, I suddenly felt a wave of sadness come over me. I felt really, really.
Yeah, because
this is not 100% official, but I talked to a couple of people during the event, and I felt that a lot of the fight mechanics were still fundamentally being worked on. I don't know if that's 100% true in any kind of sense, but that was my feeling I got out of it.
They are. I mean,
okay.
They are. He said it, and I've seen it. I mean, I'm only just playing. I've seen the Spectrum stuff, and he's worked flat out, from what I understand, to fix and to bring. Because when they put item 2.0 in, it broke everything, according to what you know. It broke everything, and so they've had to pretty much. I think it seems to be rebuild the whole thing, and they've been playing. They were talking about playing with the ESP. The stick was sticking too much, then it wasn't sticking too much, and then the IFCS was all over the place. So they've had to really rework the whole lot. So, and they've said that they're very, very confident. So I believe in them. They've been working on it. We can see some improvements already. So
I have faith.
But I would have strangled him briefly. It would have been a gentle, maybe a kiss afterwards, and then it's okay. We'll get there.
Make him unconscious, then give him the kiss of life back again, and say, "No, get back to work."
Okay. So yeah, no, that was funny. That was nice though. It was good to see.
Dr. Jones just wanted to congratulate you on being champion second time running Madness.
Wait, no.
Oh.
That's awkward.
He didn't do it. It didn't happen.
That TheFew spelled enough incorrectly, then tried to spell it incorrectly again.
Enough.
Let's move on.
Enough.
I hear Mad Rambo said that people want me to challenge Mad to a dogfight. I've already said
no. That's
anytime.
Not... Okay, anytime. All right. Yeah. Actually, if you do that,
anytime.
Wait. I claim dibs with Moist Noodle to referee that.
I'll referee that. And they got the shorts involved.
And Miz, you should join. We should have 3 refs and 2 contestants.
I'm a
going to be epic.
Did you say no shorts allowed?
That was disappointing. They didn't broadcast it because when I did it, they broadcasted.
When you say they, you mean.
Don't blame us, right?
It was all part of the plan. I was not supposed to be involved at all. However, I have ideas for next year. So next year.
It wasn't that we didn't have the ideas and it wasn't planned. We were meant to broadcast it. We turned up on the day and they said, "Yeah, you're not having the tournament because we haven't got the cable or whatever it was to send it over to us." It's like,
that's
great.
Why next year I will turn up with my own fucking my own equipment.
But that was the problem. It was the equipment or whatever it wasn't there for us to do the stuff that we needed to do.
Because you guys could have used a cell phone and gone around behind.
Well, yeah, but then how would I have broadcasted that to the stream channel?
Honestly,
well, I could have done because I did it for the other thing.
No joke. I am turning up with the professional server engineers. I'm not joking when I say that. I am grabbing a server engineer team from one of Europe's biggest hosting providers, and we will make this shit work.
I don't know what this is. This is a new thing. If we could animated emotes in chat, we could have this for the voice.
This is server engineers. This is the international sign language.
Next year, guys, turn up for some of this. Turn up for some of this.
Sandwich.
Oh my god. Loving it.
Oh man.
So done.
So I want to talk about a few things real quick. Just highlight.
Yeah.
Some of the things, and I'm going to talk very vague. Things that I was most excited about is I talked to some people there, CIG related, around intentions, okay, of certain gameplay mechanics, and I was really excited about the fact that I was aligned generally on where they wanted to go in regards to, and I think there's a lot of stuff that's been talked about before on previous like ATVs. It's nothing new specifically, but like around like momentum and stuff, like if you're flying a ship around, like things that bother me in a game is if I'm a pilot sitting in a pilot seat and I'm pulling G's, I'm like I'm going unconscious because like I'm pulling G's, but some like Joe, like secondary person standing behind me is like I don't feel anything. I'm not even moving around. I'm like happy as a clam.
I've got a really strong grip on the back of your chair. That's all it is. It's like I'm holding on.
Yeah, like the way the momentum works and the way that like the G-forces work in the game is they're only directly applied to the pilot. I'm not reading chat yet, so I'm gonna catch up with that.
I'm going to slightly disagree, only because I'm pretty sure I've been in the back of either someone's Cutlass or been somewhere, and they did a maneuver, and I went like almost blacked out.
I've never blacked out.
Yeah,
I've blacked out.
I've almost blacked out as a spare. So I think
regardless, though, whether or not that is or isn't in place, the intention is to continue in that direction where cargo is somewhat if it's loose. I know they mentioned that already, but like that kind of like realism of gameplay, even if it's muted in the sense of like maybe not quite as realistic as it would be in real life. Definitely.
You just want to sit in the back as cargo crates just fly past your head, and like it's like your own game. You got to duck the cargo as it's going.
It's like a mini game.
Fucking hell!
I'm gonna create a whole stream. Can you survive a dog? Which isn't you as the pilot. Survive as the cargo's flying around.
Exactly, that'd be fun. We just get a couple of people in the back and who survives out of both teams. So we have two teams with a person in the back with loads of crates everywhere and just keep ducking. See whose passenger dies first.
Do you know what this is? You know what you've just done? That's the fight in the movie The Flash when they're on they're bringing it's tilting like this. That's literally what you recreate.
Yeah. No, but I mean like. There are certain things when it comes to gameplay and basic like mechanics that we all know are going to be improved over time. But it's more or less my worry is like in which direction or how are they going to improve it or what are the intention in how they're going to improve it. And we all know like they may not be able to meet those intentions. But like spending some time with a couple different people, I feel like that their direction, at least their intentions of where they're trying to go with gameplay mechanics is generally, at least for me, aligned with what my ideas are. Like, you know, like when I talk about the Nox, I talked to quite a few people about the Nox and how it's not meeting anybody's like at least community's ideas of what a Nox should behave like.
Janula, I hate you.
Venom Killer says TheFew is the pilot who will survive. But no, but my point is the Nox. Like, I don't know if anybody in stream right now can defend the Nox's like fight mechanics.
No one can defend any of those because they don't work.
You know what I mean? I understand why they're thinking, okay, like thrust and all that jazz, but at the end of the day, we want certain behavior. I want to be able to fly a hover bike through the forest of Endor, chasing somebody else. Like that's like my idea of a hover bike. And having talked to a couple people, without any specifics being exchanged, we're aligned. There's some alignment, not 100% in all of CIG, but there's some alignment with they understand that, and there's still room being. They're working on possibilities.
There's only one person that needs to have that alignment, and that's a certain Chris Roberts. And if he disagrees with you and doesn't want that, then it's not going to go anywhere, unfortunately. But I agree. I've been 100%. I'm like, I don't understand why these things don't just have presets to be a certain height. They can still be in space, and they just go up and down a little bit, and that's it, preset, whatever, and you can just gun it as fast as you want.
We mentioned it, didn't we? The other podcast or something, that we think there should be like some form of way of just boosting it. So like you fly, like hover, and if you want to fly it and take off, you have to use extra fuel and actually boost up to do that. Because I think everyone we've spoke to so far all want the more Star Wars-y hover type mechanic rather than what we've got.
Has anybody in the stream currently played Destiny? I've never played Destiny.
Yeah.
You played Destiny?
Yeah.
Is there a hover bike in Destiny?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What I was told roughly is that they like the way the bikes fly in Destiny, and that their intention is to using the gameplay and the physics in this game, try to get as close to that as possible.
So the bikes in Destiny are a little bit too cartoony for me, but that is the closest thing that I could.
They're more like
what I want.
They're close to the Star Wars. They're much more close to the Endors that you want. The idea of because they do racing as well with those vehicles, so it feels a bit like Wipeout type of thing. I mean, I played Destiny for a very long time. I'm a big fan of Destiny 1, and they actually introduced towards the end of the life of the first game actual not Dragonfly, but they had the racing mechanics and stuff for the bikes, which was really really cool and a lot of fun. So. Yeah, I would prefer that for sure. I always thought that's what it would be like if I was being honest, and then it turned into a mess of like flying into the atmosphere and orbit and going all over.
Well, now the Dragonfly just sinks to the ground.
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, exactly. Just keeps and then trying to put its landing gear down. Keep putting landing gear down. No, up, down, and it's a mess. It's a real mess. So, yeah. Anyway, they got to fix that seriously because those are a lot of wasted ships and people's.
We broke Thingy's leg to make sure he fixes it. So.
Fix it. Put some coals. Bring some hot coals next time.
But my point is like none of this stuff I talked about, like. But the idea that they mentioned that their intention right now, at least from this narrow perspective, is that kind of like result is, I think for me, it's like super uplifting. Like, and I like that. Like, I like that they're thinking about it that way. So.
Yeah. Well, we're all. I think, like you said it before at the beginning. You said like you were talking to people who were backers first. And and I think the reality is that generally there's a common language between nerds and sci-fi nerds, and I think it's clearly we're all kind of
So Themical says in chat, if you get into a fresh server before anyone else, the bikes work quite well. So essentially that's because ray tracing. They use ray tracing. Ray tracing is FPS. However, they're better, but still not quite there. And CIG have said themselves that ray tracing is working as they're intended, or the bikes are working as intended.
Yeah. I love it. They had kind of had to come back on the. We've said this before, but they did that wonderful ATV or whatever it was, where they talked about how great they were, and everybody was like.
I still think though. I still think they were.
Guy. Yeah. That we talked to. Yeah. They talked about how great they were. But anyways, yeah. No, but so. Like, this is the guy actually in charge. The guy, like, I was talking to a guy who the actual engineering that is involved in the bikes. So he's very specific, like knowledgeable about what they're doing and why. But yeah, I mean, but there's so many other things. Like for example, you probably know this, Madness. I'm not sure, but I've done some tests in the verse right now where you fly a ship, for example, like two spaces, same ship, like Gladius. I can fly Gladius at full speed and another Gladius at full speed by a friend in the verse. And one Gladius will fly 200 meters per second faster than the other, even though both of them are saying they're flying the same speed.
Yeah.
And he would specifically say, "Oh, that's because right now speed is specific to FPS on the client, right? And therefore, computers with faster systems will technically fly their ships faster than ships with like slower systems, which is obviously a pay-to-win mechanic at this point."
I'm about to say that is pay-to-win right there.
Really, right there. Yeah, right there. But he also caveated the fact that this is something that's old code that was developed externally. I don't know what that exactly means, but in which that is fundamentally being worked on and going to be changed. So it's one of those things where I feel like flight mechanics in the game right now are still fundamentally flawed. And they're still working on some of the basic fundamentals of spaceflight when it comes to how this game operates.
I think even going forward into like later stages as they go through things, there will still be tweaking and balancing and touches ups and all that good stuff. So but it's interesting that they clearly mentioned the speed, because I've noticed that before. I've had two ships next to each other and I've noticed like one's going. I'm like, what speed are you doing? And I thought it was to do with the atmosphere. I thought it was to do with the atmosphere.
Yeah.
I thought atmosphere was slowing my ship down, or I was getting more rocky, or whatever. But that's interesting. I wonder if it's the same with weapons, like in Star Marine, because we always see. I wonder if there's an advantage as well there from having a more powerful computer. Because I mean, we talk about lag and FPS and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I'm expecting to see now WTFO. Now he's got his i9 and brand new computer to be ripping everyone apart with his brand new. Brand new computer.
So right now, guys, I expect everybody in chat to go out and spend $5,000 on a new computer so that you can win.
Absolutely.
So you can win
at Dogfight everyone, because TheFew is giving away his second javelin. I can use
wow,
that.
He gave one away on stream during BritizenCon, which was so amazing of you. And now he's running away for his second giveaway. That's good. Well, actually, to be honest, I did think that if TheFew is driving you around WoWs and everything, then basically next week we may well have a lot of ships to give away for the Asylum podcast. Because there'll be 2 streamers that are no longer needed.
All I'm saying is when we first picked up the car, he got into the wrong seat. I'm not going to say anything more.
I didn't get into the wrong seat. I walked to the wrong side of the car, but I didn't open the door.
Okay, I'll give you that. Okay, keep it on.
Okay,
what, you sat in the back?
We got a question, guys, from Mushy Industrial and Starflight Concern. Asks everybody, the question is, there was talk of a damage system 2.0 a while ago where ship damage was systemic and destruction wasn't just health pool based but relied on a progression of physicalized ship item damage that may ultimately cause a ship to explode. Is this still a thing we are moving towards in the future? Yes.
So, sorry, repeat slightly. I kind of missed the first part.
No, it's all right. So the basically, I'll try and sum up. Basically, they're saying is like, will the ships take damage in different parts system? It's just basically there's a systematic kind of imagine.
Yeah, this is something we can talk about for sure because they mentioned it. It was very public knowledge at the event, which is that the idea is moving forward. And again, this is just idea, right? Like this is nothing in stone, but the idea is they're moving forward of if you're shooting, there's ballistic calculations of, oh, your shot went through the hole here, it hit these components, it disabled these components. And I think they want to move, thank you, they want to move forward with this idea of ships more often becoming derelicts than exploding, right? Right now, when you shoot a ship, it has one singular health, and that health slowly deteriorates until it explodes. Right? In the future, it's not going to be a singular ship. It's going to be a multitude of components working together for a singular good, right? But when you shoot that system of components, you're hitting individual components inside, right? So when you disable the shields or when you hit the engines or you hit the weapon systems, the ship's not blowing up, but you're taking out those components piecemeal. And the idea is that many times, unless you hit the right components, many times the ship's just going to stop working instead of blowing up. Right.
Which I really like, by the way, because that really plays into the skill part of the game as specifically as a combat type of pilot, knowing your ships and where to hit them with what type of weapons and where to disable them or whatever will be crucial to not making them explode. Like, because this is ultimately causing a ship to go, because you ultimately don't want ships to explode because you want the cargo, you want to bribe them and tell them to give you your money so that you can let them get away. That's the way I would if I was being a pirate. I don't actually want to blow up the ship. I just want them to give me money. Well, generally, depends what ship it is.
Yeah, I mean, they did stress quite a lot that, I think it was on one of the RTVs that they basically, we were talking about like time to kill a lot of the times at the moment, and they said they want it to be time to disable rather than time to kill, because that's where their vision is in the future. And I'm really sorry, guys, I tried to mute. I've even deleted the sound effect for the bits, and it's still making the noise. I can't stop it. So people are like spamming bits, and I really appreciate the bits, but I cannot stop.
Streamlabs, go to Streamlabs, click on the alert
box,
go directly
I've
to it.
Literally deleted in Streamlabs the sound effect for bits. It's no longer on there. When you show the animation and the sound, I've deleted the sound for it. And I've turned volume zero.
Kill OBS, kill everything, kill the stream.
Burn it to fire.
So,
okay. No, but going
thank
back to
you.
the disable idea, I think this is key because it's so interesting. Like, I'm theory crafting a little bit, but my long-term vision, which I think is what's going to happen, is you're going to find components being exponentially more expensive than ships. You're going to buy a ship, but the components that you put in the ship to make it better than the other ship that you're fighting against of the same class is going to be 5 times more expensive than the hull that you paid for, right? You know what I mean? And so when you go and you're in a combat situation where you're disabling when you disable a javelin, you're not going to give a rat's ass about the javelin hull. You're going to be like, let's disable the javelin, let's scrap all the components that are in the javelin that have any value, and we're going to sell it. And those components are going to be worth so much more than the javelin itself as a whole without those components individually, right? And so that makes gameplay like so much more rich because you're like, okay, we got to disable the thing, but let's not kill all the valuable components because we want to get those components and we want to sell them. So let's take out just the right components that will make it so it's basically a derelict, but yet we can still make a ton of money by scrapping the thing.
Yeah, because the hull itself isn't going to be worth nowhere near as much as the individual components.
Exactly.
You know.
But I mean, that's going to be really good. That's going to be like fun gameplay for even people like Reclaimer owners that want to just eat the ships. It's going to encourage them to actually either have somebody else to kind of like go out and gather those resources out of it first to make it a complete empty derelict. Or
I imagine even big orgs, even whoever, you all think, oh, javelins, they're going to be so valuable. We want to kick the holes and we want to do like insurance cloning and LTI cloning, right? Like, we think that's going to be a big problem. I actually imagine even if the hole was sitting there, it might not even waste your time. You'll be like, take the components, leave the hole. It's not even worth my time to take the hole. The components are worth so much more than the hole, and they're so much easier to resell on the black market. But just leave the scrappy like metal hole of the javelin alone. And like, I imagine that's the future of gameplay. Like, I just don't. Yeah. Theory crafting.
Exactly. Yeah. But again, I mean, that game
like,
that. Go on.
Our theories. Oh no, I was going to say is like I think we're probably going to say the same thing. I think our theories and the reality are probably too far away.
Too far away.
Not too far away.
They're not too far away.
Not too far away. Okay. Yeah.
They're not too far away. I think they want the way that they're building these systems and the way we talked about, like, you know, it speaks to that progression. It's very clear. Otherwise, why the hell would you do it? You wouldn't do it. It's a lot of work. You know what I mean? To do it that way. So why would you stick with what you've got right now if you weren't interested? So I firmly believe that that's what they want to do. And it will be interesting as well for combat on ships as well. Because imagine it's not going to just become a derelict ship. These big ships are going to have people on board. So you're going to want to maybe board to steal the components. So you're going to have FPS combat on board these ships as well, which is going to be exciting. Yeah. You know,
but what I love about this kind of gameplay, and I think it solves all of CIG's issues when it comes to all this LTI conversation. I don't want to suck us into LTI conversation again, but
we got a question on LTI, so it's fine.
Yeah, but the idea of components being so much more valuable than the ship itself,
it takes the focus away.
It makes LTI almost worthless because you're like, yes, I get this ship and I can fly this ship around. Like I can get it. And for me, I love that. I have a javelin. Like I'm actually pro this. No, I only have one. I'm pro this idea because I don't want to use my javelin for combat. And if I did want to use my javelin for combat, I don't want to feel like I paid to win, right? You know what I mean? So like for me, I want to fly the javelin around and have fun, and my friends goof off and fly it into the ground and have it explode. Woohoo! That was fun. It died, and I don't want to have to worry about me spending $1 million to get it back again. That's why I want to keep my LTI. But if I was going to use it as an org to enforce some sort of like strategic advantage, I don't want to just use it so, oh, I paid for a javelin, now I can win. I want it so that I have to spend a significant amount more of money to make that javelin actually effective in combat. And I think the idea of making components significantly more expensive than the ship hull solves that problem. And I think that that's the future. I don't see any other way around it.
Well, I mean, when you have your javelin, I would be curious to see what the wait time and the claim time is going to be when you crash it into a planet and be able to have fun.
I'm totally willing. I'm totally willing for that. I actually hope that when I fly, even as a streamer, even as a goof off account, I don't plan on using my account for like anything real, right? I expect to wait a month to get my javelin back. Like, okay. All right, stream, we did it. We crashed the javelin, it exploded. Come back next month when we do another event with a javelin. You know what I mean? I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah, like Phantom losing his skulls.
But as long as the javelin doesn't blow up in 2 hits. It's like,
what I don't want to have to do is I don't want to have to dedicate a significant amount of the revenue from my goof off account to maintain a javelin that has no weapons to fly around and have fun, right? And I don't want to lose the javelin permanently because I love the game and I'm back in the game primarily, but at the same time, I spent $2,700 to get that javelin, and I don't want to just lose it permanently. So I don't want to get rid of LTI, but I do want to make the idea of the ship hull somewhat pointless from a gameplay mechanic, because the whole point of the javelin from an org's perspective is to dominate a system. So I want to make it so that dominating a system is primarily dependent on spending a lot of money on upgrading the javelin to the point where it's effective. I'm never going to use my javelin.
I mean, they've already said the LTI, but the LTI is covering the basic cost anyway. So if you're putting better components in it, then those components are going to be worth more than, like you said, just claiming the ship anyway.
Yeah. What I hope is like, you're like, oh, I finally got a javelin. And javelins, by the way, are going to be super expensive just for the hull. Like, an individual person playing the game will probably never be able to afford just to buy the basic hull of a javelin. Okay? But, like, even then, once an org gets a javelin, you're like, well, now all the work you did to get the javelin, you're like, well, now I do 5 times that amount of work to get the javelin to the point where I can actually do something.
That's actually one of the things that I learned with playing War Thunder. So War Thunder is very much like that. So actually getting the ship. So say you go for, I think it's tier 10 is the highest tier that you can get to. I might be correct because I haven't played for a while. It takes you a friggin' long time to get to tier 10. Well done, congratulations. You've got that jet. I spent 6 months getting the engines and the weapons and the fuel tanks. You know, it's like...
The javelin fires like, what, size 12 torpedoes? How much do you think one size 12 torpedo is going to cost in the game?
Just put an Aurora in instead and shoot them.
That's definitely going to be tested, I'm sure.
I've run out of size 12s. It's all right. We've got a Constellation. Let's bolt that on the back.
That's a good idea, Miss. I like your thinking. But no, but and you're not going to be the only one potentially with a javelin as well. So
no, of course, there's like 2,000 other people, whatever. Yeah. But my point is I don't want the game. I care more about the game than my own personal experience of the game. I supported the game with a significant amount of money because I wanted to succeed. But also, I do want something in return for that. I want to be able to just goof off and play around with these accounts. But I totally don't want the game to be pay to win. So I want my ability to fly these ships around not to necessarily have an impact on the strategic aspect of the nullsec wars that go on with the orgs, right? So I think this idea of having hulls of ships that you can goof off with that are still somewhat valuable but pale in comparison to the value of real components, I think that's a really good compromise with LTI and the pay-to-win mentality, but I don't know what everybody else thinks. So,
I'm honestly, I'm the same. I think that the LTI is nice to have it as a feature. I think it's good for backers. I think it's a good thing for people who've invested money in the game. I think it's nice, but I think I agree with you. The it's not really that important at the end of the day. The components, the weapons, I already do it now with the saber. I've already swapped out the shield components. I've already swapped out my weapons to different types of weapons to make it improved. And now it sucks when I lose the ship because then I have to then redo all the components and redo the parts because I don't want to do it. So I make sure I don't die. So I do my best.
And I hope if CIG's listening, whatever, I don't know. I know you have your own agendas, but in my mind, I hope that you never allow anybody to insure components. Like, I think it's ideal, insure the hull, but you blow the ship up, you lose the components.
No, they will insure.
The plan was to insure components, yeah.
I know. They talked about it, but they say things and they go back on it. I'm hoping they go back on that comment.
Can you? No, but the reason you can't go, the reason why you can't do that though, TheFew, is seriously, if you did spend all that time upgrading your javelin, if you're someone to make it like the best javelin in the world, and you couldn't insure those component parts that you just put on it, you wouldn't take it out for a fight. You would leave it locked in the garage because you'd be like, I ain't getting losing this shit. I spent 2 years getting all this thing up to you. You just wouldn't use it.
And the more expensive the ship, the more expensive the components, which means if you're going for the thing that you're talking about, which is everything costs more, right? Then your components are already going to cost more than the actual ship.
I'm just going to say no. We need to get TheFew drinking lager more often.
Yes. Like, if you're an org and you're spending a massive amount of money on components, like, why should I make that feeling of loss more bearable for you? Also, from a lore perspective, like, why, as an insurance company, would I be like, okay, you've got a ship that's designed to go in combat that has a 50-50 chance of winning if you're a reasonable pilot, right? You know what I mean? If you're going in a fair battle, you have a 50-50 chance of survival. Well, why would I, as an insurer, ever insure that for you?
Yeah.
Well, they've done two things. Like, they've mentioned this before. There's going to be potentially, like, if you keep crashing all the time, your premium is going to go up on the insurance, right? That's one of the things. If you keep going back and claiming insurance, the insurance company's going to go, dude, like, I just insured you like 5 minutes ago, and you're back again for another ship, like, and more component parts. I'm going to charge you more, and there could be the exponential price increases in that way as well.
I mean,
Eve does a good one. You only get 75% back of what you paid for the insurance, so you could still potentially.
Yeah, you're still insuring it, but not like full refund.
I'm talking about actual risk and reward of things. Like, for example, if I'm a cargo hauler, that's not designed for combat. That's like literally, I'm going to be hauling. I'm expecting this thing to go through 10 years of service. Engines will wear out. I'll retire it. I'll sell it. I'll move on to a brand new version of the cargo hauler ship, maybe a whole D or whatever we're talking about. In that case, from a logical perspective, I would expect the game to ensure that against piracy. But if I literally have a ship that's designed to go into combat, where it's literally like, hey, I have a ship that I'm probably going to lose because it's probably going to blow up because I'm literally going in to find somebody who's going to shoot at me. Why is it an insurer would I take that insurance on?
Matt Sherman has just said in chat, what's more likely is that we don't enable, and this is my train of thinking, that we don't enable those optimal components to be purchased in a manner that would afford them like an LTI type overhead protection. And I kind of agree with that because if we allow everybody just to buy LTI for everything, it just makes it way too easy.
I agree, but LTI should only be for holes.
Hang on. I'm not
no
saying
one was saying LTI for
components.
components. No, we were just saying just insuring them. And like you said, you're not insuring them for the full value. You're not. I know what you're saying about the combat things, but then, I mean, you would never have insurance on most of the ships that's got a gun on it because it can be used for combat.
Insurance should be okay. Go for it.
It's a good call. No, I was just going to say.
And don't military personnel have insurance as well? Like, don't you have some form of life insurance and things?
Yeah,
so.
But if you're going to insure somebody who has a 50% chance of loss of that item, then the insurance should cost to the point where it's so expensive that person would be like, shit, I hope I die because you know what I mean? I don't want to survive this battle and then have to pay that insurance anyways. You know what I mean? It should be almost comparable to the risk reward. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but we're talking about people now. I'm just going back to the component parts. I was just going to say about if you're comparing real life, for example, I have a car, and I upgrade my car. So I put new rims on my car. I put a new engine in the car. Maybe I customize it a little bit. Maybe I put a new stereo inside it. Maybe I tweak it and improve it. I will then inform the insurance company that I've done this if I'm smart because it's cost me extra amount of money. I'll tell the insurance company will then say, "Oh, thank you very much for that information. Your premium's now going to go up by X amount of money." But then when the car is stolen or broken,
you have to wait 3 months to get any money to replace those parts.
But the problem is.
But it's insured.
The problem is that insurance is based on statistics, in which case the average driver of that particular demographic gets in an accident 1 out of a million times. Mm-hmm. And they go, oh, your odds are so low, we're going to insure you for a very small amount of money in comparison to the cost of the vehicle because we know statistically over the whole we're going to make money. But let's say you have 1,000 Hornets. And we know those 1,000 Hornets are going to fight each other, and half of them are going to explode because half of them are going to win, and half of them are going to lose, right? In which case, the insurance company is going to go, okay, why am I insuring you? Because I know that I'm going to lose money.
Two reasons. Okay, one, it's a game, and secondly, mostly it's a game. So there we go, and it's just make sure that people don't lose all their hard work. And secondly, so we have things like in the UK where there's high flood warning, and they've been flooded multiple times. Now, not all insurers will insure these houses anymore because there's a chance or almost a guarantee that they will flood again. Now that means that the government now fund a sort of insurance scheme so they can still be insured, obviously for a lot higher price. And they're not getting flooded all the time. Same as warships are not necessarily going into war constantly. But I know what you're saying with the battle thing, but I think it is basically going to be boiling down to it's a game.
My point is, my only point is I don't want to make it so it's obvious I buy insurance. I don't want to make it so that, okay, I buy a ship and then there's the no-brainer to get insurance. I want it to be I want it to be that you buy the ship and you go, you are taking a gamble. You're buying the insurance, and you're like, look, if I survive 5 battles, I've wasted money on this insurance.
So, Miz, I agree with you to a degree because I have a lot of friends in Newport who live in those flood zones. I also agree with TheFew to such a degree because at the end of the day, an idiot is still a freaking idiot.
Get off the fucking fence, man.
Yeah.
You get splinters
that
on
fence
your
must be giving you splinters.
No, the point I'm trying to make is if you have somebody who loses ships that
It's a
frequently,
game.
It's a game that has to be balanced. If insurance is always the right choice, then why not just put insurance on everything?
Because we're still not disagreeing with you that insurance will go up and up. It's not that you can't insure it, it's just that it gets very expensive. And that, like you said, the components, and then the components can also be on the same way as the ships. So if you've got very expensive components in that ships, it may take you a month to get that component back again. You know, components will be just as rare as some of the ships will be. And you might not be able to get the components everywhere, and then you have to go into making them.
In IRL, insurance, including government schemes, will eventually refuse to protect you. Now, using the flood example is fine because... Yes.
It's a game that should have risk and reward.
Yeah.
No one's saying it shouldn't. No one's saying it shouldn't, but... All we're saying is
mitigates risk more often than it doesn't.
If you've got a douchebag, right?
All we're saying is no, but all I'm saying is you're saying they shouldn't insure it because it's a combat ship. All I'm saying is they will insure it because it's a game and it's a combat ship. It's you can't. I'm not. No. Shh. Wait a minute. I'm still saying like it's still going to be risk reward because the risk is going to be that it might take you fucking months to get those components back again. The risk will be that it'll cost you a fuck ton to actually insure it. And so there's still going to be a risk and a reward, but it's just not going to be a complete blank, or you're not going to get any of it back.
I mean, as intention goes... Oh, go for it.
It's not going to be Dark Souls, kind of like, to a degree, like, oh, fuck, that's it, everything's gone, and you're completely starting from scratch again.
Yeah.
Other than, you know, I mean, I think everyone's in chat is right. I think, and I agree with most people. Like,
everybody's right. Nobody's wrong.
I think we're kind of like, we're talking similar kind of languages. There's a few things that are kind of a little bit different, but generally on the whole, we all know LTI. We just want to strangle it a little bit at times because it's made quite a fucking mistake.
Yeah. So I think Sherman, of course, you know, with all of his wisdom, Matt Sherman, sorry, keeps commenting. And I think that's the intention. It's vague, but that's the intention, and I agree with it. Insurance isn't some carelessness enabling system, right? And I hope they balance it in such a way that it's not. Yeah. The way, like, we're talking about, I'm just going to insure it, no duh, that means carelessness enabling. But if you have to think about it as a gamer, it's like, is this insurance worth the money I'm paying for it? Then it's no longer carelessness insurance. If the insurance is expensive enough, then it becomes something I, as a player, have to decide, is it worth it? In which case, then I agree with Sherman, who says if you screw up consistently, you pay the consequences for your actions. Yeah. And as long as that's the long-term goal of the game, I agree 100%.
Yeah,
that's it. I don't have to go into the details of how that's.
All right. So if Sherman says it, it's fine. You agree. But every time I said it, you didn't want to agree. Right? Okay. I'm missing the CIG check. Obviously, I've got the G. I just haven't got the CI. I've got the G. I just haven't got the CI. I'm sorry.
Miz.
I was going to say.
I'm not saying at all that we're drunk. We're very merry.
No, you didn't say that, Miz.
But
again, we didn't talk about the
Excuse me. No. Matt Sherman says, because like Miz has said, this is still a game. Boom.
Go on, you want about that. There we go.
Matt Sherman doesn't understand me, okay?
And I did say that the insurance will go up the more you fuck up. So that's the same as well.
I'm not saying insurance shouldn't exist. I'm just saying it shouldn't be a no-brainer. Like, as soon as it becomes a no-brainer add to all ships, it becomes a mindless catch-all. It should be, as a player, I decide whether it's worth it.
He's doing the backpedaling now.
Guys,
I don't know what it's like in America, but in the UK, it's not as simple as you have insurance or you don't. There are different types
drawing a line on this.
Shut up, madness.
Drawing a line on this conversation.
Hang on, shut up.
Shut up.
Shut up.
I gotta pee. I gotta pee.
It's not as it's not as simple as you have insurance, or because I haven't said much. It's not as simple as you have insurance or you don't. There are different types of insurance. You have third party. You have third party fire and theft. The fires in space. Hopefully, I like fun. And then you have full comp. Yeah, but like the whole point of having different types of insurance like that is it kind of, how do you explain it? If you're an idiot, it punishes you for being the idiot. That's the whole point of third party. If you smash into the back of somebody's car, congratulations, you give them the insurance,
but you're screwed because you were the idiot. You know,
unless you put the brakes on and someone hits you at the back, and then it's their fault, but you're the one that did it on purpose. But we won't go into that one. Insurance scam. Insurance scam Idrid style.
There's going to be different types of insurance.
They have, I know, they said that from the start, that the more, if you're an idiot, then you become an idiot. But yeah, we go.
They've said it all. They've said it all. Right, drawing a line on that line of
So
conversation. Thank you so
LTI,
much for that
that was
question.
nice.
That was very, very good. We have a question from Mr. Coffee. And he says, I would like to know your thoughts on dedicated ships for dedicated roles that CIG seems to be leaning towards. I missed the modularity idea, and I played Eve and enjoyed that. You could use the wrong. I enjoyed that you could use the wrong hull for the job to do the same to an extent.
Right. I'm going to start because I'm very merry right now, and as time goes on, I'm becoming more merry.
The claw is coming out with every answer now. It's just like, listen, guys, I've got this.
But I'm going to use the Land Rover as an example. Right, the Land Rover is a fantastic vehicle in real life. It's designed for off-roading, but you can use it for commercial purposes. So we're just talking about different hulls being used for different things rather than specific tasks.
I agree. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So, right, the Land Rover is fantastic for going off-road, right? But you can also use it, for example, for towing. But it's not as good for towing cargo as, for example, a Mercedes Actros, which is an articulated lorry or truck. You know, so yeah, I think you should be able to do a truck. Okay, you know the things.
Yeah, I had this discussion with Des. He was like, "What the hell's a lorry? Is it a taxi?"
It's like, no. So yeah, I think you should have the opportunity to do it, but no, not necessarily well. You know.
So I can't remember. I'm sure I read it somewhere, but they were, or one of the ATVs, but they were saying that the smaller ships are probably going along the more lines of variants. Because it's a little bit easier to have, like, I don't know, it's harder to do the modular system on it. There's still going to be modular ships, especially the larger ones. But yeah, the small, I don't know, they still, I think it's also because they haven't actually developed the modular system properly yet. They said that they're still working on it and trying to figure out how that works. So I do think we will see modular systems still. It's just, its variants are obviously easier for them to do, the modules are.
Yeah. I completely agree. So I'm just, Dr. Trone's got the perfect clip. just saying.
Shut up, Magnus.
Sorry.
I'm going to regret that clip in the morning, but right now it's amazing.
Yeah, I agree.
It's amazing. It's brilliant. Say bye-bye to Moist, everybody. This is the last time you'll see him on the podcast.
This is the last time you'll see me on the podcast, you mean?
Well, it's funny you say that. But
it's funny.
But tonight we've got like all the best clips we've ever had from the Asylum podcast. So good job, everybody.
This is definitely going to be a special one.
Definitely some good ones. Definitely some good ones. You have a new emote, by the way, Moist.
Oh yeah, we have that.
I've done that for so long. I don't know why.
Are they just like? Is their camera? Has their camera now got drunk, or is it me? Their camera's gone all fuzzy.
I think the camera has got drunk. Yeah. It's just all getting.
Is it our camera?
Oh God, it has.
Yeah, your camera.
I got it. I'm gonna fix it. 1 second. I'm gonna fix it, guys. It's a Logitech. No, it has an autofocus. I have to disable every time, and it's annoying.
There we go. It's good.
There you go. You're back.
If only we could sober you up the same way.
We were talking about dedicated ships. It was a serious question, asked you guys.
So
it was asking about modularity within. Like, do you think that we should be able to have? I mean, I'm kind of against too much modularity, but I will, carry on.
Well, what's strange is they kind of.
What do you mean specifically?
Well, he says, all right, I'll read it out again because you weren't there. He says, I would like your thoughts on dedicated ships for dedicated roles that CIG seems to be leaning towards. I missed the modularity idea that, and I played Eve. And enjoyed that you could use the wrong hull.
Honestly, right. So my idea relating to that, which maybe CIG will absolutely hate because of maybe development work or technical work involved in it, is that ships designed for specific purposes should be efficient and cost effective for doing that. However, maybe some ships will be modular. Maybe you can add a medical bay or a scanning equipment to a ship that's not designed for that. But I think that would be more expensive. It's like, why would you go out and why would you buy
a minivan and try to convert it into a drag racing vehicle, and you could just go buy like a vehicle meant for drag racing. You know what I mean? Like it'll be more expensive to convert a minivan into a drag racer.
All I care about is flying a reclaimer, and when this comes at me, I want to fire an EMP and wreck it.
We won't get that modularity in that sense. It's got to be a modular that will work for that ship, because the way that they're doing the modularity is it has to be designed and made to fit, because we can't rechange the inside of ships and stuff.
To a degree,
so it's the limitation.
So I think it
not to a degree. That is what they've said.
Say a Ferrari, for example.
You can't just bolt shit on.
You can't. No,
Sherman is gonna bust a nut in a minute, because we've had this discussion before.
Shut up, right?
And he's like,
Ferrari,
you can't do it.
You can't take off-road wheels and chuck off-road wheels on a Ferrari. But can you chuck Ferrari wheels on a Land Rover? Yes, you can. So you can turn it into a race.
So I agree with you 100%, Ms., but I want to clarify a couple of things. Yes, you're not going to just be able to install an EMP device on a ship that's not designed to hold EMP. Like, whatever. Like when he talks about modularity, but
it comes down to the ship. It comes down to the individial ship.
1 second.
Screw it.
So my point is like, let's say you have a ship
comparing
that's not
Ferrari and Land Rover.
No, but let's say you have a ship that's not really designed to be stealth. Like you have a stealth, like it's a Raven, right? It's designed to be stealth. It's a variant, right? Like, and you want to. I know that their definition of modular is different than the way I'm using it, but we're talking about taking a ship that's not designed for a specific purpose. And moving it towards that purpose. And you can take a ship that's not stealth specific and put certain components that make it more stealthy. Will it ever be as stealthy or as amazing as a Raven or something like that? Then no, but like, what's going on in chat?
The Tempest says, please start with the real world examples. The Tempest, the entire game is based on real world examples. Yes, it's a game, but you still have to compare it to real-world examples to a certain degree. It's
human nature to do that. Yeah. We always have to grasp something that tangible that we know about to find kind of some sort of reference. It just
do you know why? Yeah, do you know why I compare it to real-world examples? Because every new player who comes into the game who's never played the game for the first time and they play Star Citizen, guess what? They're going to compare it to what they know in the real world, and they're going to be like, "This doesn't make sense."
Well, people do it to math, don't they? Like the math of stuff already. Like within the game, it's like, well, that math doesn't work. You can't use ammonite, whatever, to mine because it would blow up and destroy the world. People just do that shit. It's like it's just well, it's a game. It's got magic. We can spawn things. No, I mean, yeah, that's the way I look at that one. But in terms of modularity, I'm more on the idea of the ships should do specific jobs. I don't like them to be too modular. I definitely like them to be able to have aesthetic changes, but I don't necessarily want them to do. I like the way Sergi sticks with more focus, because it means that people learn skills and have ships specifically for those skill sets. And at the end of the day, the investment in the game is buying ships. So if you have a ship that can do everything, why are you going to I wasn't super keen on the Vulcan too much.
Well, that's what I didn't understand with the Vulcan.
Here's the thing. Maybe it's not about the ships. Yeah. Maybe it's not about the ships, but the components. So say, for example, you're a specialist in scanning, and you have learned how to use a particular scanner, and they have the same scanner in two ships. It's a transferable skill across two ships.
Yeah, but you're going away from what the Few's probably hinting more towards, and what you're almost saying is you're going away from what actual modularity is, which is what we were talking about, and you're on about ship components. Now, if a ship component fits in one and can still fit in another one, then yes, you can use it. But we was talking about modularity, which is like a med bay or a repair bay or something else. And if it's not designed to be modular, it won't be.
I agree with you, Miz. I think we're arguing about semantics. I think there's there's a definition that CIG's provided of what modularity is, and I've changed that. That's my fault. I apologize. But in truth, yes, modularity is not going to be something you just apply to every ship. But the intention of that modularity is changing the purpose or function of a ship, right? And in some cases, that function may be stealth, right? In which cases, stealth may be something you can modify on a ship-to-ship basis, regardless of modularity, whereas cargo hauling isn't. You know what I mean? It depends on the thing you're trying to modify.
Can I just say that Matt Sherman just said chip components are as much a part of modularity as anything, though? So clearly, I'm correct.
Oh,
I'm right. I'm right. Yeah. So,
how does that make you right?
Well, Matt Sherman said it, then I'm completely.
So I mean that's absolutely cool. I mean, I don't have a problem with the idea that you can switch out components. I think the reality is what I want there to be is that you get a bonus or you get an improvement of having the correct ship doing the correct components.
I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. That's what I said. It's like the idea is, why would I buy a minivan to be a drag race? You know what I mean? It's like you can modify any vehicle to be slightly better at a certain type of task than it is otherwise meant to be, but it'll never be as good as the vehicle that was designed specifically for that task. And I think that's exactly what you said.
It doesn't mean it's actually as good as what the specific vehicle would have been used for.
You shouldn't put mining lasers on a Saber, for example, because you're not going to put them.
You can still mine with a Saber, but it doesn't mean it will be good at it. It's not
even good.
Saying never.
No, it will never be able to do. You could literally mine with. You could put them on the hard point.
You could break the rocks.
You could break the
rocks.
rocks.
You couldn't do anything else with it.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. You can get out, you can EVA, you can grab the fucking rocks and shove them in your crotch for all I care, but you can still fucking do it.
Okay, calm down. Okay, well, that's cool. All right, next question we have. Let's move on. Next question we have is from the troll. And
never getting invited back.
It says, can I pay? No, look. The name of the show is called The Asylum. Fine.
We're all crazy.
It's fine.
Fine.
The clue is in the name. My name is a little bit of madness, so we're all good. Can I pay $5 to get LTI on everything? And the answer to that is no.
Wait, no, is it?
Whoa.
Is there
No.
Yes,
You'll be able to get it. You'll be able to get it in loot boxes.
No, you can. Wait, what's the difference between? What's the difference between 100i LTI and 100i non-LTI? Cost-wise.
Oh,
is it $10 or $5?
Oh, I think this is Is it? We talking about the War Bond edition versus the.
Like
the
$10,
other one
I thought, but then it might be VAT
it might be 10
variant.
right now. See, that may change in the future, but right now I think the LTI is $10 in value.
That was another. We had another question from a patron, and they were talking about this. Is how do you feel about the? Tusman was asking, how do you feel about the fact that the War Bond comes with LTI and the standard one doesn't come with it? Now, I'll just lay this out. I don't like it for a few reasons, but one of the big reasons is it clearly shows that CIG puts a value on LTI. Do you know what I mean? Because they want new money, so they know that it's a lure to get more fresh money into the game. Do you know what I mean? So they must know.
Do. It's like everyone's moaning about it and saying they need to sort the shit out, but really they're sitting there going, well, we know it sells stuff, so let's just keep putting LTI out randomly. Let's not give it to everybody.
Exactly. And like the one hand saying LTI is not going to be important.
To be fair, they may as well sell it as a loot box token. Just here's an LTI token if you want to buy it, because that's what they've pretty much done by having it War Bond. You can buy it with cash.
And that for me is the bit that pisses me off about it. Other than that, I couldn't. And like I said, somebody else was talking about war bonds on the Spectrum. They put a post up to talk about war bonds and saying, hey, why don't we have war bonds in the game so I can put money into war bonds? Because sometimes in the year my tax gives me a load of money, but I don't want to spend it. Or I want to spend it on my favorite ship, but the only ship comes available every so often. So I want to buy something to put it, so I won't spend it on something else, which makes total sense. When we have money in our pockets, we tend to burn that money on all sorts of other things, right?
Easy solve. We have a sale in April.
No, we have a promotion. Now we have a promotion in April. No sale. They never used the word sale.
Okay. But that's just an example. But sometimes people get windfalls of money at different times of the year, which their favorite ships aren't available for them. We do care about them because I'm one of those people who likes to save. And so for me, I was like, people know about the issue with the gift card scenario because the gift card, you can't use gift cards if they're melted down for store credits. So he was saying we need to find a way, and I was saying, and for me, I put it on there. I was like, they should just make the gift card work properly, and it'll be fine. Anyway, that's just about LTI. What do you guys think about LTI?
You managed to sneak a gift card rant in something that wasn't quite relevant. It's like I just want to get this off my chest.
Are you saying we're back on the LTI question again?
No, we are really not on the LTI question.
We're not.
You just asked me what do we think about the LTI question?
No, we didn't. It's about his gift cards.
Okay, gift cards. Got it. Thanks, you.
We're moving on. Anthil Air and Space. Sorry, just being clever. Anthony Space says, if someone on a reclaimer reclaims a derelict, not knowing people are still inside it, will you get automated crime stat hit? Or is it a case of out of sight, out of mind? This is a good question.
I love the idea of that.
I believe you should get manslaughter charges. If I'm a person coming along reclaiming a derelict and I haven't validated, if I'm blowing up a building and I haven't validated there's no homeless people in that building and I kill, you know what I mean, a certain amount of people
But if
who are living in that building, I get manslaughter in the real world.
Nah, but only if people see it happen. If people
They'll find the dead bodies.
Yeah, but if people find, but they have to find out it was you.
It is a good question because people were mentioning we had a very similar conversation about this, but about like pirating. And if you pirate but you're not in the monitored zone, are you still a pirate? Or if no one's kind of seen you do that, or no law enforcers have seen you doing it, but then you feel like there should still be a punishment for being a pirate. So it's like, what?
Sorry, we're playing to chat.
It's a complicated thing. That's a gameplay mechanic that, unfortunately, I'm literally, as much as I pretend like I am, I'm not a gameplay developer. I don't.
You are a CIG employee.
Oh, I am. Okay. No, but I don't think it's that easy to solve.
Look at the shit he's been coming up with.
How would you build that gameplay mechanic? Like, it's complicated. It's like, because I like the idea of being able to murder somebody.
Moist, sitting there like.
In a space.
I need a pee.
Yeah. In a
Real
space
life?
I'm yelling at people. Are they gonna come at us?
There's no room next to us.
Oh, thank you.
That way or that way.
You're in a hotel that's had thin walls.
Yeah, yeah,
I was going to say, because when we were drunk in BritizenCon, we got the knock on the door as we entered the door. It was like, the receptionist came and knocked on the door and said, "You've been told to keep the noise down." It's like, we've just gone through the door. How did that happen?
Yeah. So I like the idea of being able to murder somebody in the game, or somebody else being able to murder somebody in the game.
Shout it
in
louder.
in which case that they don't get caught for it, right? There has to be that risk and reward. So do we say you blanketly get? Do we say you get a blanket criminal rating just because somebody was in the ship? No. But it's a balanced thing. Like, I don't know how to build it. I'm not going to tell CIG how to build it. Maybe it has to do with comrades.
Please
being
do.
active.
I'm sure they want to hear.
Maybe, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, it's not an easy answer. Yes, I think you should be somewhat accountable for that person dying inside of the ship that you reclaim. But does it mean you guarantee a criminal rating, or is there a way for you to try to hide the murder or the accidental killing? You know what I mean? Like, that's a more complicated, nuanced gameplay mechanic.
Yeah, because at the moment we've got, if you shut the beacon down, then nothing gets relayed back, so you can get away with it.
Yeah.
But it kind of feels wrong that if you could just get away with constantly doing that, but I don't know. But then the gameplay mechanic is you don't kill people where you can be seen. Find a nice quiet rock, buy them dinner first, invite them out to a romantic rock, then kill them. No one will know.
Yeah, that's the way I would do it.
I look at it like like sci-fi shows, which they always show you, like, when they find the derelict, they scan the ship and it tells you if there's life signs. Do you know what I mean? Like, so we're gonna have scanning in games. So for me, I would have the scanning mechanics on board the reclaimer that scans the ship and it indicates if there's life on board or not. If there is life on board the vehicle, then obviously you would it registers that, makes a note of it in the ship's computer, and if you then commit the crime or whatever, you'd have to go in and delete
hacking. Yeah, exactly. Hacking mechanics.
Matachi just said in chat that, like, it's a funny thing. If you shut down the beacon, you get a crime set anyways. I'm hoping that in the future there's some sort of mini game involved with shutting the beacon down that lets you shut the beacon down. If you screw up, you get a high crime set rating.
So
if you do it well, you get no crime set rating.
You would bring somebody.
One at a time. I know
You're in the same room and you're not even arguing with each other, and you're still doing it. It's
we're agreeing.
Something. No, I
agree with such passion.
So, when I was a surfer engineer, a lot of what I was doing was basically security stuff, where I was analysing logs to find out how somebody had managed to penetrate a server. And
you're in for a fun time tonight, Few.
Yeah.
So
demonstrate that penetrating the server again.
I'm sorry. So essentially, you can bring somebody with you, and it's their job to analyze logs. And it's not like, I'm not saying it's a simple mechanic to implement, but the idea of creating a log that's essentially a random bunch of numbers, letters, etc., but somebody who knows what they're doing can analyze it and spot specific things that they need to remove from that log. It's hacking.
I mean, we also had where you could reduce your crime stat by hacking the system and reducing it. So the mechanic could be that
was
you
literally press F, right?
What? No, I know. I'm not saying that. But what I mean is, if you could, you shouldn't necessarily not get punished for turning off the beacon or killing someone. But you get the crime stat, but then you have to go and try and wipe it somehow. Do you want to get a room? Oh, you're in one. Never mind.
Unbelievable. No,
I agree though. I agree with what I think we're all in agreement, which is basically that.
We're arguingly agreeing.
Yes, exactly.
it's not. I always say this. It's not an argument on here.
Oh, it is now. The argument is on.
It's a dialogue.
Look at that. I love this. This is like the first time I've ever seen Madness as like the flame, like the one that's actually reducing the flames. No,
so
he's just.
We're arguing. We're debating about how we're agreeing. That's
exactly.
It's fine.
You just messed my camera up, Madness. Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Madness.
Thank you, Madness.
Thanks, Madness. Thank you.
Bye, Madness.
Goodbye.
Thanks
I'm coming back.
us.
I'm here.
Okay, good. You're here. Yeah.
It's getting better. I got better.
I hit a wire for some reason. I don't.
Well done, Madness. You did that a couple of weeks ago as well. Great job.
It's because I moved. Because I moved shit. Carry on, guys.
He raged
Sorry,
me,
moving
basically. So I think we covered that. We're in. I don't know. Are we in? So the agreement is that we think you should probably punish somehow, but be able to also reduce that punishment somehow.
I'm happy to do the punishment.
Yes. Basically, is the idea that CIG needs to create some sort of varying level of you committed a crime, you got caught for the crime. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And how does that scale? That's a really complicated thing to do, but I think they're working on it.
So I'm back.
I think we're in agreement on that, right?
All I'm saying is when I played Zelda Ocarina of Time, like, you had to sneak. And if you were within line of sight of something, then you got caught. It was as simple as that, obviously. Dr. Drunk says, and I quote, "Shut up, Madness." Quote from Moist Noodle. Thanks, Dr. Drunks.
It was a good one.
Yeah. Best quote ever. I'm going to print that off.
There's going to be so many. There's going to be so. Guys, in chat, let's make this the most clipped version of Asylum, please.
I think it's already there. To be honest,
I think it will be.
Oh dear God.
I think it will be. We've got the next question is from the Eye, and he asks the guest. So I'm guessing that's either Moist or excuse me, TheFew. Since Noodle and TheFew are in different rooms, how have they swapped seats? I think we've already established that this.
We
is
didn't.
fake.
We just moved the cameras round. That's
I
all.
think we've established this is fake. This question, Mr. Turtle, the guest. Why is the Carterol the best ship? And he asked this.
Cartual?
Yeah. That's what.
Carterol.
That's the one that does what again?
I don't know. I'm just trying to blag it.
That's the one that does. Funnily enough, it's the one that does this.
Okay.
That is the Carterol.
We'll let Moist
You
answer this
subliminally
question.
put that into the
it's
chat's
the one with
like
the-
head.
Yeah.
The best animation, the one with the cool animation that opens up.
Okay.
It's the best because it's
Truthfully-
got space steps that appear.
I
the
own
one?
almost every
Okay.
ship in the game. Like when I say almost every ship, I mean like 90%, maybe 95. I'm not sure. I haven't
Two
calculated
javelins.
yet. The Cartual and many of the alien ships, I don't own. That's those
You
the
suck.
Banu, the Cartual, the whatever those
I'm
are.
genuinely not that interested.
So
in
you're
alien
racist?
ships,
Is that what you're
so-
telling us?
Yeah, I just do the human ships.
You racist bastard.
I like the good-looking ships, basically.
I like things that are designed for comfort,
I like
designed for
alien shit.
my genetics.
Miss, you got to change the names around.
No, I think they are a little bit of madness right now. I think chat had it
I
right.
think that's true.
I could just do two of your name, I suppose.
Oh, we can say anything now.
And Madness has always been a little bipolar in that.
Shut up. Moist Noodle, TheFew.
Okay, so why is the Cultural the best ship? It's not the best ship. Or the only thing you could say is the steps are probably the best feature of the rest, and the animation. In my
The
opinion.
steps are awesome.
Oh,
That's 'cause
Jean.
it's
Is
light
it a
up
Jean
and
ship?
It's not Cartual's not John, is it?
Oh,
No.
I'll put this away then. I wore this
Is it?
t-shirt
Maybe it
ready.
is.
You know. Okay. Well, the
None of us
question was
know.
asked for you guys.
None of us know. None of us know which alien race built the Cartual.
It's the Sean, isn't it? Because it's got the anti-gravity one.
Aren't we supposed to be experts on this game?
Apparently.
I think we are. Well, you know.
As long as it's
Pe- pe-
human.
pe-
We need
people who-
Astropub right now.
People who have 90% of the ships should probably know what their ships are that they buy.
I don't do the ships that are named Cartois. Like I don't. Like it's just not my thing.
It's the Xi'an ship, guys. It's the Xi'an.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah. It's always like anything that's got anti-gravity and like all the bits like hovering. That's their technology.
Please! Oh no! In a hype clip, that whole section. Oh,
That's
on Reddit.
Natasha's like Xi'an, you idiots.
You can't. You can't. Matauchi, get it right. Thanks.
Exion. It's
Right.
Exion, according to
There's
the
an apostrophe in there
Exion.
somewhere.
Somewhere.
the
Where's
question-
the apostrophe? Who does that belong to?
What have you done?
A little bit.
That's not a little bit.
It's a little bit.
That's not a
Wow.
little bit.
Back on track.
Next,
Okay, ladies.
next question, boys. Is from Moist Needle. He asks TheFew, when's the drawing of the javelin
me?
TheFew is giving away on today's show? He's not giving away.
Unfortunately,
no javelin.
I would love to give away Javelin Chat, but CIG prevents me from giving away anything over 1,000 now for UEC.
So what we all need to do, if you're concierge,
Cut his javelin in half.
use your concierge
Yeah.
chat.
In thirds, because it's so expensive. In thirds.
But
Thirds,
to be
okay.
fair, guys, the one thing we've learned from today's podcast is that it's not about the chassis of the ship; it's about the components. So TheFew is going to be
Just
giving
make
away
the
all
all
of
his components for the javelin.
to you.
That don't come with the ship.
That's actually. Do you know what? That's how they're going to. From what I understand, I don't know if it's still changed or not, but that was originally how they were going to price up the ships. Was based on the amount of components to making up a ship.
It is.
How much it was going to
But
be.
1 second, like TheFew just said, we all heard that. He said he would love to give away his javelin today. Did we all hear that?
No, not today.
No,
I said
no,
I
no,
would love to
that-
give
no,
my
that is-
Javelin away.
No,
I heard that.
But
no,
not
you
today.
definitely said I would love to give away my
Let's have a
javelin, but
clip back.
CIG wouldn't let you. Now, I remember CIG saying if you want to give away something over 1,000, you can, but you just got to let them know first. So,
And
guess what,
You have
everybody?
to send it to my
Enter
email address.
If you're ready to enter the
Disco,
competition,
are you still there? Disco, my buddy. My best
Somehow,
buddy.
because they just need to make sure it's not
I
money
feel-
laundering.
somehow I feel as if we would go to court because we're kind of like it feels like we're abusing our privilege of someone who's heavily under the influence of alcohol right now.
You are. You're taking advantage of me right now.
I feel I would be taking advantage of you. No, it's all good.
Javelin.
moving on.
Exclamation mark javelin in the chat, everybody.
God, here it goes.
Exclamation javelin! Wow, look at these people going crazy. Good luck with that one. Rate My Fleet asks everyone. He says, "Oh, hang on, he sent a picture. Hang on, let me see what this picture is." I'm intrigued. Oh my god, I
getting
can't see
some of
that.
that.
Not
Action.
just typing because you're so drunk.
Oh my god.
Wow, that's crazy.
Still
So
not
he
typing
sent
because you're so drunk.
he sent pictures of all the ships in like colours and stuff. You'll have to give us a reference for that, but we'll come back to that question later.
What was it saying?
It's
What
just a
was it?
picture of a fleet. I don't quite know what they're trying to. There's no question with it. It was just
Okay.
a picture of a fleet. So we'll have to. If you want to send us another question explaining what you were trying to say. Devil Cloud Gaming asks everyone. I was a bit underwhelmed by the mining prototype. How do you all feel about it? We talked about it a little bit earlier. Does it look like something they have worked on for a while? Or is it, well, I think the reality is there's a big word saying work on progress, and these guys already spoke to the guys there, and they said that at BritizenCon they're going to be that this is literally heavily just the first kind of look at it. So I expect it to be a little bit better, but I definitely don't think it's going to be as big as we want it to be. It's going to be very basic. It's still tier 0. Don't get I think it will be not too crazy cool. So we'll see. That's my view.
Yeah.
Based on what
I
I've heard from
completely
these
agree.
guys.
So you completely
Okay.
agree.
I agree.
Yeah.
You agree? Good stuff.
No, yeah,
Anyways, yeah.
Next question's from Phantom Killer. He says, "Why is Jay Lee so awesome and Gold Team?"
I would Gold team. Gold team.
Not too long.
We're in a hotel.
Guys, you guys are gonna get. Be careful because
It's fine. It's
So
fine.
seriously,
So
wait,
Jay Lee is gorgeous.
he's awesome,
He's amazing.
and he's awesome because he makes crazily weird and interesting faces when eating spicy food.
So he loves spicy food. So what you need to do, he works in the LA studio.
Yep.
He works in the LA studio. You need to find the hottest sauce and the best wings locally in your area and send them to Jay Lee at Cloud Imperium Games, Los Angeles, I don't know the rest of the
Something else.
Also, if you're going to CitizenCon and you want to meet Jay Lee, you need to go to a forum post in Spectrum that Phantom Killer can post that says support Jay Lee to Austin. Or is it Jay Lee to Austin? I don't know. We need to make it happen.
Yeah, we need to make that happen.
And we're done with Jay Lee. Let's move on.
Can't really top that, can you?
Nope. I apologize for you inviting me on this show.
Team Gold.
I'm sorry for being here.
I think it's great. It's all good. And normally I'm the one getting shit faced. To be fair, normally that's in the past. It's fine. It's good to see other people. It's funny because when you're not shit faced and you see people who are kind of clearly getting to that point, it's quite amusing.
We're not shit faced. We're merry.
Okay.
You're married.
And I'm cutting myself off. By that I mean I'm taking very small sips.
You just half filled my goblet with Pandaren bourbon.
It's just dragon breath.
Hang on, right. Someone sent me a video.
Oh, a video.
Oh yeah. Let's get it on.
Let's get it on.
Oh, okay.
But
Someone says somebody. Mr. Pickles says, "Hey, hot stuff."
Mr. Pickles.
Oh,
I wasn't far off then, was I, with that video?
Woo! Woo! Very nice. How are my salt reserves today? And are these people more crazy than me? That's a very good question. My salt reserves are always pretty good, and these people are clearly more drunk than me. That's for sure. Actually, so as we finish the questions for the time being, we can talk about what do you guys think about the new Legacy armor? Have you guys seen it? Did you watch ATV? Did you see the reworks and stuff?
So I saw. Okay, well, here's how in tune I am with the important people in the CIG universe.
Yeah,
I did not watch that part of that, but I did see your tweet a little bit of madness about how much you loved one certain piece of that armor.
Medium.
Exactly, and I also thought it was really amazing.
What are we on about?
Because I watch everything that you tweet, madness, because you're a legend.
Oh, this is
your biggest fan.
Yeah. This gave me an awkward boner for at least 2 days. It's all about the fingers.
I'm a big fan of the medium. Which is interesting because the previous Legacy armor, the light armor, was my favorite, and I didn't like the medium one. But this time, it might be I prefer the medium Legacy to the light. But I wait until I see more of the light. But I don't know what it is about the light that's kind of thrown me off. I think it's maybe because I've seen the Nomad with all that tissue paper crap going all over it.
Yeah.
That kind of threw me off it. Oh fuck! I pressed the button.
For fuck's sake! I just sorted that out.
Don't touch anything. Don't touch.
It's not us that's touching it. It's you keep touching yourself.
There's something wrong. I keep
Wait, who's
the
touching?
wire.
Who says it? Wait, Madness is touching himself. I'll be right there.
How far away is he?
Not far. We can drive there, right?
Hey man, wait. Actually, well, we can have that as a
So I'm
private
touching
conversation.
him inappropriately.
Yeah.
It's alright. I just keep kicking a fucking wire, and it's literally under my desk, and I've just.
Have you considered not doing that?
I'm back. It just kicks. No, I moved the wire now, so it's completely out of the way. I kick a wire and it hits another wire.
You're also running at 1 frame per minute.
So is Cloud Imperium Games' Star Citizen, so we should be used to that then.
He's just going in sync with the. Oh, dear God.
That's fine. I don't mind. We have time. Chat's patient.
So it was funny that so Madness moaned a lot about the Legacy armor last time.
I will be back.
That doesn't sound like Madness.
Yeah, it's fine. Just take your time, Madness.
He was extremely salty about the Legacy armor. He kept saying, "Why do we keep seeing reworks and works on the Legacy armor? Why aren't we seeing new armor?" And then we see this Legacy armor, and he's like, "I like it a lot." I think it's all this bike riding he keeps doing. His salt levels are just draining out in his sweat, and now he just likes anything.
Madness being happy is the most important thing to me in the CIG universe and Star Citizen universe.
I don't know.
Wow. That's.
What?
Are you muted them?
No, I haven't actually, but
they've gone muted.
Hello.
You shouldn't have said anything.
I'm glad we were muted then, to be fair, because I said something.
He said you're an asshole a little bit, Madness, and I muted him. So
Yeah, obviously.
I mean, it takes one to know one, right?
We said that you, Madness, had turned more into salted caramel lately.
Yeah. Well, I was just saying how you seem to have become a lot more relaxed over the last few weeks, and how I have blisters on my hands, and how that's completely not related in any way. And I'm really liking the new Madness. That's what I'm saying.
No, good. No, like I said, I'm only salty about things that I get salty about, and at the moment, there's not a huge amount with CRG stuff to get salty. It's a few things, but on the whole, I'm really liking the progression of the game at the moment. I think it was really starting to come together from what I'm seeing, and I can see it now. You know what I mean? Whereas last season it was hard.
Because of BritizenCon, and not to distract us too much, but because of BritizenCon, I haven't been able to pay attention to the patching, the stability that I'm normally on top of. I've heard two rumors that they seem contradictory. One is the latest patch, 3.1.3, that went live is relatively very stable. And then two, the other rumor I heard is they're working on a new patch. So one, is that first rumor true? Have you guys played around in the live version of 3.1.3?
I know that they've stopped. Yeah, well, the news is that we've got is that they've stopped the PTU for the time being because they're doing some big fixes. So,
but did 3.1.3 go live?
Nothing's gone live that I'm aware of new since. I mean, I've only been playing PTU, so I don't know if anything's
3.1.3 is.
Did 3.1.3 go live?
Because that happened just before we went to BritizenCon.
One confirmed true, says by Vantage. Yeah. So that's live. Is it relatively stable? Are people crashing? Because it's weird that a stable version of the patch would then be patched again with a 3.1.3.
Yeah, it was stable for me, but it doesn't necessarily mean it was stable for everyone.
So the PTU patch you've been playing is now live. Is now live.
But it's different letters, is that what it is?
So why are they patching it again? Why are they doing another build of PTU of 3.1.3?
Because, like I said, because it's live with higher end hardware, it doesn't necessarily mean it's alive. Sorry,
Inner Hype just says it's stable AF.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean it's stable for everyone. Like, they have error logs.
Everybody who's commenting so far has said stable.
It doesn't matter. Stable. So there's a difference between the client and the server.
It doesn't matter.
Likely see.
Doesn't matter.
So
guys,
everybody wants to see performance, right? It doesn't necessarily mean the performance is there where they want it for the servers.
Okay, we got one person who says practically unplayable. They're fixing it for you, Ash Angel.
Yeah, but it's not necessarily about that. There are logs running on the server software. Just because the software is running and not crashing doesn't mean there are not errors in the logs.
I'll drop it.
Okay. So it's the likelihood is there is still errors there, and they're trying to fix those errors.
Cool.
And we've got, like, if anyone wants to talk about the PTU, I have a link in the document saying the PTU is shutting down. This was probably about 5 hours ago now, saying that they are shutting down the PTU. It says here, I just wanted to give a quick update to the status of the current PTU. You guys did an excellent job getting us the data we need. We'll be shutting down the PTU in the next 10 to 20 minutes, and it will remain offline until we have more for you to test. So we'll be back, but they obviously have more stuff. I mean, I'm curious.
How long say what version that one is, but
I feel like we lived for like 2 months worth of almost unplayable gameplay in 3.0, and here they are with a really playable, stable build, and they're like,
but here's the thing.
Patch it again.
How do you know all the features that they were expecting are actually working?
I don't know.
Exactly. So for all you know, there were 1 or 2 features not working, and they want to get them working.
And that's why it's on the PTU and not live. So it's like, might as well keep trying to patch it to make things better.
Yeah,
it doesn't mean you have to drop it to live.
You're diverting resources away from 3.2.
Well, no, they've already said they've put most of the resources now are going on to the next patch, which is 3.2.
Yeah.
If somebody is free to fix something because they're not working on something for 3.2, they might as well work on that thing for 3.1.3. Rather.
Yeah. I mean, we don't have to go off on too much, but I was just curious because it was something I heard, and I was like, those two things don't seem to align. 3.1.3 relatively stable, and then another hot patch coming out. So I was just like, I didn't play 3.1.3 at all.
TheFew, welcome to my world for the last 2 years. That's pretty much one hand is saying that, and then it's constant. That's why I get salty, my friend. Because it's like,
I'm not salty. What are you about it?
What the fuck's going on?
You should know.
So actually, just a big shout to the guy. You know, we talk about the Daymar Rally. We're talking about the Daymar Rally. The French have got the Rover Rally going on. There's a nice poster on Reddit. So if anyone's French,
oh, fantastic! So we can do the Daymar Rally at 10 miles per hour. I love the idea of that.
I was about to say I'm not quite sure the Rover's as fun as Psycho, but you know, good for them.
26 kilometers as well. I mean, that's going to take you quite a while, isn't it?
Are they going in? Are they going away from the danger?
I don't speak French, so I couldn't read much. But all I could see, all I knew was there's a poster, and they're doing it with the Rover and the Rover Rally.
The poster's nice, though.
Yeah, the poster. I put it in there because the poster was really cool. I was like, whoa, well done.
I'm gonna organize the first marathon in the game.
I have a question for you guys, and it's about the because we got a few more questions, I think, and then
let's do it.
The Moby Glass. There was a gentleman that put this post up on Spectrum, and there was a reply for this post. But he's talking about the Moby Glass, and the idea was about having opaque Moby Glass. And the idea is, how about instead of having a slider how about having a slider that sets the transparency, translucent, and opacity, so you aren't stuck with one particular type. You can potentially make it more opaque or less opaque, so you can read things more. What do you guys think about the Moby Glass?
I don't think that should be something up to the player. I think that should be something up to CIG to figure out what works best for everybody. If I have to sit there and go, okay, I'm on a sunny like halava planet, I need to change the opacity of my Moby Glass. That says too much of.
It's like your mobile phone when it adjusts brightness because of how much light you're getting. Start fucking.
I don't want to have to micromanage my Moby Glass's like background image.
I mean, personally, I think it just probably needs to be. I'm not. Although I get the idea of the really opaque Moby Glass, so it looks techie and futuristic, but to me, I'd rather it have less opaque, just so that you can read it any time.
So something I'm going to say now is I work with a lot of people with physical disabilities, right? I work with people who are deaf, I work with people who are blind, and everybody has different levels of eyesight. So I think, I don't know whether that's something that should be built into Moby Glass or generally the settings for the game, but I personally would like to be able to change the opacity because, I'm an old man.
I agree. I agree 100%.
Okay.
Sorry, I killed the conversation.
No,
so sorry.
No, you didn't. I'm just
no,
my camera.
That's cool. That's cool. And then what else have we got here? Oh, actually, there's two videos. Now I'll put the links in, but there's two videos from a person called Flyer56, and he's done a really nice two video. I mean, it's a little bit long and it's a bit boring at times, but generally the videos are very good and very informative about weapons, about handheld weapons, and he goes through each weapons for the lasers, and he does ballistics and the other ones. They're very, very good. If no one's ever seen Flyer on YouTube, and you're interested in knowing a bit more about the weapons and each one individually, you've got a bit of spare time to maybe put it on in the background and watch them, and you're interested, it's pretty cool. I'll put the links, or Miz or whoever, we can put the links in chat, but well worth checking out. And then I think the next thing would be the shopping kiosks, because this is a big thing. We kind of, I guess we could, is to do with the new improvements from ATV. They've shown us a sneak peek of some of the shopping kiosks and how they're working, which leads me on to the, everyone's always talking about this game at the moment. When are we going to get ships in game to buy? Did you guys get anything from BritizenCon about ships to buy in game? That's the big one right now. Everyone wants. Who's going to finish the loop of this game?
CitizenCon or BritizenCon?
Well, it's been a long time since CitizenCon. I can't remember what information I got from CitizenCon.
I didn't go.
It was meant to be. It was meant to be. Back in the day, it was originally posted as 3.1. We're now 3.1. We now still have no ships in game. They've then all quietened down on the topic of conversation. Went to 3.2. I don't know if it's on the roadmap now. We know about ship kiosks, and they talked about obviously stuff for us as.
It's not expected till the end of the year, is it? For ship buying?
We don't know. They haven't announced the weight. They have not specifically announced any quarter in which ship buying will be in the game. However, I have heard rumors that are unfounded that it is something they're focusing on. They're trying to get in the game ASAP. The key fundamentals of ship buying are being included in 3.2, which is kiosk improvements around buying anything, right? Yep. Which is fundamental ship buying. There may be, and I actually heard a roundabout thing that this could be 3.2 could include ship buying. I don't think it will, but I'm just saying that they're working on the kiosk functionality for buying anything in game, and that's fundamental to buying ships in the future. Whether or not ships are included in the first version of the kiosk to buy components in game, that who knows. But I personally feel like it'll happen this year. I personally feel like ship buying will happen in 2018 in game. Maybe not all ships, but some percentage of ships.
Yeah, I mean,
yes.
The thing is, it's like if they knew when they're going to put it in, and if it's really soon, then I get the reason why we don't have any ability to, like I've said before many times on the show, and I stand very firmly behind this, about there are options to give players, especially new players, because I see it all the time. They're always like, I've only got one ship, and like, what can I do, you know? And it's like, you know, yeah, you can buy, and I don't have much money, and I don't want to spend lots. I'm not a wealthy person. I can't spend like buy 90% of the ships in game, but I do want to play. People say, you know, oh, join an org. People will give you ships. That's fine, but there's not always going to have everybody on, and you're not always going to have ships to think. You could go into Arena Commander, you can wreck them, but there are, you know, you can subscribe and get the free ship, but there's still not.
So you mentioned about joining orgs and whatnot.
Yeah,
I would really, because I've got quite a few ships. I'd love the idea of lending people ships. You know,
it's not even about that. Like, I actually really 100% want ship buying, earnable with Alpha UEC in game. I don't even care if it's so expensive that you have to work a month just to be able to upgrade your ship. Like, literally, the fact that you could do it provides motivation for something to do in Alpha UEC. Like, I mean, in the game, like, what am I gonna do? Like, nothing. Like,
yeah, I agree.
No motivation for me to earn money.
It's literally the first gameplay loop. If
on top of that, we're testing, and
yeah.
so in order to test stuff, we need access to these ships. So it's a great way to get people to have something to play towards and be able to test the ships that they want us to actually bloody test.
Yeah.
It just makes sense. It's just one.
Nobody's going to be earning a Javelin or an Idris in alpha right now. That's never going to happen. Even if they were in game, they would never happen in the 3-month period that would be required to earn it. Like, we're talking about just like, oh, I have an Aurora. If I'm a $45 backer, I would love to say, you know how many people come to my channel and I say, they say, should I buy the game? And I'm like, well, what do you want? And they say, oh, I want to be able to do all this stuff. I'm like, no, don't buy it. And I say that primarily because they're just going to have an Aurora for $45. If I knew that they could upgrade that Aurora to a Cutlass with hard work, I would be like, buy the game because you're going to love it. You're going to work with the Aurora. You're going to get a Cutlass Black. You're going to do all this really fun stuff. That's like that's literally the limiting factor for me recommending
for a very long time as streamers, we've always been saying that all you need for Star Citizen is the basic package. That's all you need, which is still true, but try saying that to someone that logs in and then that ship blows up and then you've got to wait ages for insurance because you have no money to buy the insurance to get it quicker, and then they got nothing. They can't take cargo because they've only got one little unit. Or it's just it's not what you want. It's not what we want. We want to tell people that all they have to do is buy the $45 package, but we want them to be able to come in and try new ships that are there for them already.
The game is super fun for me. I love the game, but I've spent like over $20,000 in the game. Like, I spent an insane amount of money on the game, not because I want to play the game, but because I want to support the game. But my point is I'm not going to tell somebody, oh, is it worth? Yeah, spend $20,000 and you're going to love the game. That's ridiculous. Spend $45 and you should get good gameplay. That's what I want to be able to tell people.
The game has definitely become more enjoyable for me the more money that I've pumped into it.
Yeah,
that's because you can fly more ships.
Yeah.
That's fundamentally, that's the whole point. That's the whole point of this game. It's everything. It's all about fundamentally finishing that loop of gameplay, which is the ship purchasing. And like for me at the moment, this is where I get salty, and this is where I get very, very angry with them. Is because we had a free flight the other day, and guess what they fucking did? They flicked a switch of a button and gave people cutlasses and other ships. And I don't understand why they can't flip a switch. And they've done it before in the past where they flipped a switch and give everybody ships. And I don't know why they can't flip a switch at the moment and say, hey, guess what? This patch is all about cargo running. Everybody can have a Cutlass. Everybody can have this, and everyone can have that. You know.
And I agree. Right now, a little bit of madness. I agree. I don't think everybody should have every ship, but I think the ships they provided in the free fly was the perfect complement of ships: the Cutlass, the Aurora, the Mustang, and the Cyclone. Like, with those combination of 4 ships,
you could play for 100 hours in the game and have a blast. But if I spend $45 and all I have is an Aurora, what the hell am I going to do in the game? So until they can buy ships in the game, we should have those 4 ships available for all $45 backers.
Your starter package gives you that just to play with. It don't own them, but just gives it that to play with.
I bought a starter package for one of my closest friends. He has an Aurora, and he played for a while, and he still dips in every now and again. But what can you do with an Aurora? Realistically, it's like
especially with the basic one as well, because like they used to sell the LN, which is what I've got as the package, and that was a good starter package because at least it could do some combat. But the really basic one is a really basic.
He was looking back in 3.0. He was looking at me and my friends and you guys and seeing us making loads of money from trading, and then he is in his Aurora. And we're like buying our armors, we're buying our weapons, and while by the time we're completely kitted out, he's buying his first gun. You know, and I can't even give money to him to enjoy himself. You know,
well,
it just seems
you can do beacons now, so you can get an insane amount of money now. But it's still. But I think honestly, like I said, that's my biggest thing. Is like everyone talks about it. Like honestly, they flip switches or whatever they've done to give ships whenever they feel that they want to, and there's no justification in my mind why they can't leave those ships available.
This isn't even salt. I'm not salty. I love the game. I think the game's amazing. What I want to do is I want to share the joy that I'm experiencing in the game right now, and I feel guilty because I spent so much money on the game, and I've gotten since I started playing aggressively in December. I got 400 hours of really amazing gameplay. And the only reason I've gotten that is because of the amount of money I put in the game. I would love to be able to share that kind of gameplay with a $45 backer.
And this is the thing, right? So for me, for you, for Matt, for Miz, it's a really fun experience. For the new player experience, it's shit.
But surely that, right? So they know this, right? Because they must know that buying a starter package on its own is not good enough. Otherwise, when they did the free fly, why didn't they just give everybody Auroras? They knew that it's not fun with just an Aurora. So to give the free fly and say, look at all these fantastic things you can try right now to show off what's in patch 3.2 or whatever, or 3.1.3, like they gave everybody those ships, so they must know that just starting with just an Aurora is no fun for anybody. So why would you limit your fucking game and make it not fun for new backers?
I'm not asking them to provide all ships to people
you just said.
Madness, I'm not asking them to provide all ships to people.
No,
right?
I'm not either. That's what I don't want anymore. I had this conversation with you, I think, before, and I've had a conversation with other people, and I've refined originally I was like, give everyone shit, but then I've refined it down, and I've thought about it because I've had this conversation with many different people with many different views, and I've narrowed it down very, very much to give them specific ships for patches. So, like, for example, the next patch, give everybody the Prospector. If you haven't got the ability to buy or earn the Prospector in 3.2, everybody should be flying with a Prospector. Should be able to mine and test it and give them all the data. And now PTU exists, I know, and that's fine, and you get 2 weeks. But that is not long enough for between patches at the moment because we've got 4 months. That's not long enough, in my opinion, to make it fun for everyone.
I'm okay with the idea of being hard to earn, being almost impossible to earn. I just want that ability to earn, and until it happens, like if I have an Aurora and I'm a player and I put 100 hours over a month's period of time in an Aurora, I should be able to expand my gameplay because Auroras are going to be really boring to play. And until that happens, if I can't provide that as the gameplay, if I'm saying, look, you're early access, you have alpha, you spent $45 in the game, you should be able to like get something out of this. Let's provide them with that Cutlass Black and the Cyclone. I don't need anything more. Just the Cutlass Black and the Cyclone gives you so much gameplay.
Yeah. It gives you all the things that are available at the moment. Yeah. Right? It gives you everything. It gives you a go at everything that's available at the moment. Yeah. So you've got your starter ship for whatever you want to do with the little missions. You'll have the Cutlass, which would be a bit of cargo, and then you have something that can ride on a planet. That's every bit of gameplay that you need. So
this whole conversation is summed up by Dirk in chat. So Dirk has said, sugar, I've just lost it.
Dirk said marketing is so disconnected from the community, and that's why they piss everyone off with their bullshit.
He says marketing. Everybody stop saying stuff.
Stop talking!
I just told you what he said. I just read it out. I just literally read out what he said.
Okay, so thank you for reading that out because I'm very merry at the moment. But
we couldn't tell.
I had a 45-minute conversation with the head of marketing at BritizenCon, and the one thing I would say is that marketing.
Poked her eyes out.
Honestly, marketing, like the lady in question, is genuinely really lovely, and she does care. Marketing as a team is like this particular team is fairly new, and it's changing quite substantially at the moment. So yeah, I have my criticisms. Everybody has their criticisms. I would say continue making your suggestions because they are paying attention to those more than I thought that they were. And I think as long as we keep making those suggestions,
tell them to watch a couple of podcasts.
Then, I'm actually no joke. I'm actually going to link certain timestamps in this podcast to her. But I think hopefully we will maybe see the changes that we're hoping for.
Don't link the timestamp where I say I have to pee. I have to pee. That would be very bad.
I've kind of like I say, for people who I've had many conversations about ships and game, and where everyone always throws these kind of fundamentals at me. They throw PTU at me, and they throw subscriber being as tier 0 and tier 2. I've always said there's nothing wrong with those things, but they can improve the service of the subscriber. So, for example, they had like when Cargo 3.0 came out or whatever, it was a fly thing. They gave everybody a retaliator, a tally, which was basically no use for cargo. It had 0 cargo space. And so it was like, again, it was a case of, they don't utilize sometimes at all. So I can't say to people, hey, guess what? I've done it recently, but I say, guess what? The free flight ship this month is the prospector for subs. And then at the end of the day, I recognize the game needs to make money. So I don't mind saying to people, but guess what? For £10 for this month, you can get the prospector. I would hope if they don't give us the shipping game for 3.2, they put it as the sub ship, so that people can, for £10, have the prospector for a whole month rather than 2 weeks. That's the way I kind of look at it. Or they run the PTU in the background and people can join the PTU, become a subscriber, get into the PTU, and then they get it that way. They can constantly, just so long as there is a way for people to keep investing and helping and being able to get access to ships that isn't 50 quid,
Yeah. All I want, and I'm not trying to like undervalue people's contributions or like, oh, you invested so much money and why did somebody who only puts $45 get the same ships that I haven't invested like $200? Let me finish real quick. I'm not trying to undervalue that. All I'm asking CIG is, and it's not an easy task, is find a way to make alpha enjoyable for all backers, regardless of the amount of money. It doesn't have to be amazingly enjoyable, but it has to be something you can put in like more than 1 hour of gameplay and say, oh, that was kind of interesting. That's all.
Yeah, and realistically, like you said about undervaluing people, is we're not at that stage yet. We're at the stage of testing, so it's no one's undervaluing someone that's put more money into the game just by letting other people use those ships for. It's temporary. Yeah. It's not a permanent feature, so it's not going to undervalue them anyway. If you gave it to them when the game was released, that's completely different. But that's not the plan. And the other point on this is the frickin' insurance at the moment, and the way that's run. If you've got the one ship and it blows up, or the game crashes, and it doesn't get... You've got nothing then for ages, and it costs you money to get it back.
Although, to be fair, they did fix the amount of time it takes and the amount of money it takes to make it more bearable, and I appreciate 100%. I appreciate 100% the work they did. If you have an Aurora and you lose the Aurora, you'll get it back within a minute or two.
Yeah.
Like, literally, it's fast. So the only time that is an issue is if you spend a lot of money on a more expensive ship. So I think CIG did the right thing in that regard, but I think there's more room to improve. Yeah.
I don't think we got... Did we get any more questions? I don't think we did. I think we already closed.
Someone asked for a hug, I think.
I'll give you a hug, whoever you are.
I think it was a few that asked for a hug, actually. So there you go. You can literally give him a... and the last question was, is buying your own referrals cheating? No, because who are you cheating other than yourself?
There's actually quite a lot of people who use Google AdSense.
In order to get a Javelin, you have to have 2,007 or some crazy amount of referrals, which are $45 each. So you're spending at least 5 times the amount of money on a Javelin you would otherwise have to spend.
I know.
Do it, please. Yeah. Give them more money.
I think the only way you could do it is if they weren't being smart with the numbers. So, say for example, if you got 5 without having to try, and then you got another 5 by doing, imagine they did I think they did recently did an Aurora only package type thing, was like $15.
But I still think it's cheaper.
But even then, it's still more than the Gladius. I think it's still more than the Gladius because I'm trying to think 10 is the Gladius. So 10 is Gladius. That's $90. So you have to be less than $90 of your own money to.
But there's 10, and each one would have to be less than $10 for a starter package.
Yeah, but maybe you've got 7 already, and you're just two away. You know what I mean? And you want it, and you just I'll get 2 cheap packages, and that's like $20 rather than the $90. And I've got myself a Gladius, so that's how it could work. Or if you just one away or something. But personally, you can't do anything with referrals in the sense that the ship it's not got LTI. You can't sell it for anything, I don't think. Zero value. They have zero value. It's just cool to have an extra. I just need one more. I'm one more from a Grey Cat. I've been waiting for fucking ages to get one more referral from a Grey Cat. So I can then give it.
I mean, everybody referred to Little Bit Madness.
I can give it to because I want to give the referrals to the moderators.
Yeah, I do that a lot too. I think, although my moderators determine who they go to, so I have actually no idea. But I'm assuming I give them to my moderators. However, anybody in chat, we have 94 people in chat. There's got to be at least one person right now who never purchased a game. Come on, charity fundraiser. Let's use.
I get that Grey Cat. I can enter the sumo. I can then enter those sumo rests. Sumo.
Speaking of Grey Cats, we've not mentioned this at all during the podcast. We're giving away a Cyclone. We're giving away a Cyclone, right?
Yeah, this is it. We're going to do the Cyclone. We'll do the Cyclone.
Ward did ask a question very early on. I don't know why you skipped it, but he basically said, I know it's a year away, but what do you think will be in BritizenCon 2019? And what do you look forward to in BritizenCon 2019?
I think it'll be bigger. I think it will have... I love your comments about the idea of having more of a tag team streamer approach.
So I think that
instead of having this idea of Miserable and Mac doing the entire stream,
in my head, the streamer presence will be much bigger and it will be much better produced in my head. But I need to talk to people like Miz and Madness and Mac about this.
No, but in truth, I think it makes sense. You ever understand? Only so many people go to BritizenCon, but there's so much good information at BritizenCon. So the most of the value of it is the internet. So streamers are literally the representation of BritizenCon, and I think really improving on that capability, the professionalism, and the coverage. Yeah. And it's not really just about having 2 streamers cover. It's literally about having 10 streamers being able to cover more information across a broader spectrum to really capture BritizenCon. And I think that's what I hope to see next year.
I genuinely also think that there's a lot of exciting stuff that's to be expected coming out quite soon. Yeah. I expect that in terms of mechanics. Expected.
We may or may not know. Who knows?
I think generally the next year is the year for, and we've been saying for a long time that this year is the year for Star Citizen, but the thing that's really held back the game is mechanics. And I think in terms of mechanics, this year probably is the year. So I think we're going to expect a lot of big announcements when it comes to CitizenCon, and naturally anything that we hear from CitizenCon will affect BritizenCon. But the one thing I've learned is even without much of the way of content, really, it's even if there wasn't any content, people would turn up to BritizenCon, I think, because it's generally the nicest atmosphere I could have expected.
It's amazing
from any sort of event.
This is my first semi-official Star Citizen event. It's not even an official Star Citizen event, but it's the most official I've ever come close to. Okay, and it's insane the maturity, the kindness, the involvement, the passion across every single person at the event. You know what I mean? And I'm hoping I'm gonna go to CitizenCon. I don't know if I'll get a ticket, but I'm gonna go there. Even if I don't get a ticket, I'll just hang outside as a raving madman.
We're not letting you in.
Yeah. But
you'll get a ticket. Don't worry.
Who knows? And so
You spent 20 grand. If you don't get a fucking ticket, I'm coming over there to break some nuts. My God.
Ooh, I'll break some nuts.
Well, I couldn't even secure an office tour like this episode.
What the fuck?
Let's not go into it.
I'm just saying it's
We'll
not
talk
pay
about
to
that.
win.
One of
It's
those.
not pay to win.
I could have
Okay.
got you an office tour. But no one.
No, I know. I
It
didn't.
is. It is fucking pay to win at 20 grand, mate. That's what I'm saying. If I did a game and you gave me 20 grand, my God, literally, I would. You could come out and have dinner with me
Okay,
anytime
so
you wanted.
just to quickly explain, there was one slot left, right? One slot
And
left.
one of us could have had it.
Yeah. So TheFew didn't want to leave me, and I didn't want to leave TheFew. So
Yeah.
there we go.
So we didn't.
That was that.
Anyways.
Oh, it's like love.
But yeah.
Oh.
No.
You should,
So
should draw a heart on the screen right now between the two of them. Oh no, that would be us.
So no, but so anyways, my point is like going to CitizenCon, going to these events, you have to go. I've been backing this game
It's good.
since 2012. Since the beginning, basically almost the beginning. I'm like backer number 60,000. I'm a 5-digit. I'm very low number.
Your tag's on.
Oh, it's over there somewhere. So I've backed this game longer than almost everybody. 98% of everybody who's backed this game. And this is the first event I've been to, and it's literally opened my eyes to an entirely different view of how this game's being built, the community, and what's going on. And so it's like, if you haven't attended an event, attend a bar
Don't
citizen
watch.
event.
What he's trying to say is, don't watch the stream. Turn up to the
Yeah.
freaking event.
Exactly. Turn to the event if you
But
can
that is
afford
what we
to.
all want. Yeah.
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 If you can't afford to, watch the stream. But if you can't afford to go to this, go to a bar citizen. If you can afford to go to the CitizenCon area, do it. Because the community in this game is almost better than the game. And in fact, in the current state of the game, it's probably better than the game. But I'm just saying it's such a vital piece of it. And I didn't realize that until until BritizenCon. So
I think for me, it's meeting.
100% agree.
Like, so obviously, I have friends in real life, and I have people that I hang out with, and I go out with them, like I drink with them, and I have conversations with them. But when you literally spend like 8 hours, in fact, you spend 3 days with people, and you have that much in common with them that you just have non-stop conversation, it's just really.
Is that how
easy.
long this podcast has been going on for? Shit.
It's
3 days. No,
But you know,
sorry,
but I
go
mean,
on.
I think we've all been to a BritizenCon. I went to the last one. You guys have been to this one. Miss has been to all of them. You form. There's no question. I think we're all saying it, and everyone knows it. You form friendships. You form bonds. You form things you didn't realize. You know, it just reattaches and makes things even stronger than before. And you do come away from it just buzzing. That's the beauty of these things. That's why they exist, right? You just come away buzzing. If you didn't come away buzzing, then they've done a bad job. And the fact that you guys sound like you're absolutely buzzing,
I mean,
clearly, it's great.
We spent like
Buzzing.
what 3-4 hours setting up the stream. I know Moist was like, he was like I was the second time when I had to take over the stream. Like the stress levels between both of us and then everybody else trying to get it to work was so freaking high that. And yet we still absolutely loved it. As soon as it was live, it was like bang, crack on with it. And it, you know, with that much shit, and yet you still can enjoy it. It just shows you how good it is, really. Because there's not many things that could piss you off for that long, and then you still go, "Well, this was so fucking awesome."
I didn't even get to see a single panel,
Well,
and I
yeah,
still loved it.
I didn't see any of the panels. I didn't see, like we said earlier, I didn't see the fucking prize box that was given away for the raffle. I didn't even get my raffle ticket. I didn't see the poster that was given away. I just turned up and sat behind a desk for all of it, actually. But it was still freaking awesome. So, and I definitely think you need to make it the full thing if you can as well. You got to come the Friday and afterwards.
Yeah. I missed the Friday the last time, and I wish I hadn't missed it. I mean, it was fun, but for me, you need to go for as long as everyone's just the crazy people are there, because it is great fun. So, and I'm sure like CitizenCon, all the events, they're the same. You just go for as long as you can, meet the people, have a great time, and it's fantastic. We need to draw this raffle. Let's draw this raffle quick.
We need to start the raffle and then draw it.
So start the raffle, then draw the raffle. So we're going to start it now. So everyone, thank you everyone for hanging around. They're all like, this is all we've been waiting for. It's just the future. Woo!
Exactly.
This is why we're here.
I hope I win this cyclone.
I know, me too.
I really want a cyclone.
Just like I won the javelin earlier today. That was really impressive.
You've got 3 now.
I can't believe I gave away a javelin and then I won the javelin. as part of the giveaway.
That was really
impressive.
Yeah.
Okay.
There we go.
So you only get. Let me have a look how long the timer is on this. You only get 60 seconds to enter, apparently. So we're going to read the not exclamation mark javelin or raffle. It's exclamation mark cyclone. And I'm going to be starting
like 5 minutes. Give
No.
people 5 minutes at least.
Why is it done for 900 seconds?
There we go.
There you go. You got 900 seconds.
You just entered me in the cycle. What if I win?
You're gonna win.
We've now got 15 minutes.
I've entered as well.
How do you have another cyclone? How do you have like 10 cyclones?
I've got 5.
So we now have to talk for another 50.
How do you two manage to get out the door? Both your egos and heads are so big. It's so difficult. Right?
I have like 10 cyclones, 3 600 eyes, 4 reclaimers.
Right. T-shirts on.
Life is a struggle.
It's just life is a struggle, right? Yeah.
Brimstone wanted to know what's the update on your baby madness.
Oh yes. We are going to.
So your baby is.
He's talking.
The baby is the baby situation is we are as of this week we'll be entering into the anytime scenario. So
is your bags packed?
Yeah.
Are you ready?
No, the cot's not ready. The bag's not packed. Nothing's been done.
The bedroom's not painted.
The floors have to be done this week. I'm painting the walls tomorrow. So yeah, we're in the living room. So yeah, it's all like go to try and get shit finished, and then literally and then I have to get my books out and read up on the baby process again because I've forgotten like how many.
How do babies work? Hold it this way up.
Not babies. No, the bit beforehand. Like you need to know like for like between contractions, how long between contractions before you should go to the hospital type of thing. You know, that kind of stuff, which is kind of important. So I've forgotten exactly the time. That's my week anyway. And then once the baby comes, guys, I'm afraid I will be not streaming for maybe a month. We'll see how it goes. It all depends on the baby. But I will be
shouting out Madness on all of our streams, saying, "Look,
I'll be
coming back."
I'll be like
alive. He might have lost his spot as the champion of BritizenCon, but he hasn't lost his spot in our heart.
Oh wow!
Wow! It's about that time of the stream.
Wow! So it's like literally like, I'm gonna get used to it, right? It's gonna be coming up a lot of the time soon. So. Cool. Anyway, that's me. That's my week. You can catch me on a little bit of madness. The other guys, where can we catch you?
Unfortunately, I'm still in Wales for pretty much all of this week.
Wow.
So I will be flying back on Saturday.
We're going up Mount Snowdon tomorrow.
Yeah, I may die tomorrow, and I may never stream again.
But we do get your ships. So
if I die,
could you give us your login just before you go up?
Yeah, I will, Miss. I'll give it to you.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's all we care about. That's fine.
Yeah, right. But when I get back on Saturday-ish in the United States, I will be back to my normal stream schedule by Monday, which, if you follow me, you'll know what that is. And yeah, I'm going to hit it hard. It's going to be awesome. I may stream before then, but don't expect anything extravagant like my normal stream. So, Moist?
It's me, Moist Noodle. I'm going up Mount Snowdon tomorrow. The mountain is absolutely fine. However, I have to get into a car with an American who's driving on the left-hand side of the road, so I'm likely going to die. So I'm leaving all of my ships to Bunsen and Phantom Killer. If I die. Yeah, thank you.
This is like an online wheel.
Someone better clip that just for
legal purposes,
prosperity,
legal reasons.
However, we have fantastic. We're at the base of Mount Snowdon at the moment. We have fantastic 4G, so I'm hoping we get 4G at the top of Mount Snowdon.
In which case,
we might be the first people to ever stream Star Citizen from the top of Mount Snowdon.
You make it sound like it's like Everest. It's like literally we're in England. Like,
shut up!
Like a mound with a little bit of snow.
I agree with you. Having climbed many mountains in my life, Madness, but I'm letting him live his dream right now, and I'm not going to
Don't make me talk about the worms.
Shh. Okay, who hasn't talked? Ms.
I'm a miserable G, apparently. You are watching my channel now, that's where you can find me. On Twitter, I'm also miserable_G. And I do the Asylum podcast on Monday. I do Paint, Prattle and Roll on Wednesday evenings, sometimes, when Des turns up. And I do D&D on Fridays. And hopefully we might be starting picking up some daytime Star Citizen streams would be nice. So yeah.
Sweet. D&D. Oh wait, Stout and Sturdy, guys, is the links. You got links in the chat,
yeah.
Right?
The links should all be on there somewhere.
And the Asylum. Check out our YouTube channel, guys.
Yeah, so don't forget, ! Cyclone to enter the giveaway. You can only do it once, so please stop spamming it because I'm getting loads of whispers telling me that you've entered more than once. I don't know what the fuck this bot's doing. And on top of that, if you want to, as just reiterate, we did the BritizenCon stream, obviously, over the weekend. I am splitting up the interviews, so if you want to see the individual dev interviews that we did live on stream, they will be going up on the Asylum channel, hopefully tomorrow. So make sure you're following the Asylum channel on YouTube, and you'll be able to find it there. And that's it. But we've still got 8 minutes to go.
Oh, we do? For what? The giveaway?
This 60-second giveaway was bullshit. It's actually...
I'm going for a pee. I'm going in this room.
I can entertain people.
You can't like fast forward it or anything and like claim it now. Finish it out.
It's fine. We can talk about something.
No, it's fine. But I mean, just,
you know,
we could talk about something.
I think we should talk about.
Wow.
How much of that bottle have you drunk? The red one. How much would you say?
I have a feeling it's only down at about this level, so we've only had about this much.
Yeah, that's pretty tame, really.
That's pretty tame. But I'm a lightweight, so you know.
that's pretty tame.
So we didn't talk about the Bar Citizen after.
Oh no, we didn't.
That sucked.
How was that?
That sucked.
Did it really?
That pub was shit. Yeah, we've used that pub 3 times in a row now, and we warned them in advance that we were coming.
Yeah.
And that we wanted food. And I queued for my first pint, and by the bloke that was serving at the bottom was so freaking slow, and there was even a shout saying, if you need to order food, go to the bar now, which I was already standing at. And by the time he came round to me and Sunshark, he turned around and said, yeah, there's no more food orders.
So Miz, the food at the bar, I agree 100% was a joke.
Yep.
It was long line, hard to get. But CIG ordered their own food, amazing food, and they invited me to have some. Did they not invite you? Were you not special enough to have that food?
I was probably packing up the venue when you fucked off and left us.
Oh, okay.
I was getting spicy.
That food was really spicy.
Good. But because we didn't serve us food, which I heard was shit anyway, Moist ordered us a pizza, and we devoured that massively. So that was fucking gorgeous. So thank you, Moist.
So because last time there was just a massive pizza order. There was just massive pizza orders. So did that happen again, or was it a bit of a mix?
CIG ordered some pizza and chicken wings for themselves. I had one slice of pizza, but it wasn't very good. But the chicken was awesome. Cameron was like, "You are special." No, he didn't know say that, but he said he looked at me and I felt like he thought I was a special person and I deserved the food. But really, he just was kind of like, "Oh yeah, you can come too." And I had some chicken.
So what you're saying is technically they should put on a potential venue where drinks and food and everything is all at a venue type thing.
Well, the thing is, we need to sell more tickets.
That would increase the price of the attendance. Like, if you're willing to spend $100 for basic attendance instead of $80, then yeah, I'm sure they can include food.
Well, yes and no. I mean, part of the issue with the venue we got right is it's a big venue and you can get a lot of people. Now, if you don't fill that, then obviously there's less people have to pay more money to still cover the cost of the venue. So the more you fuckers turn up and actually come to the venue, the cheaper we can make it, and then the cheaper the tickets are, so we can have that stuff. But I just think that the pub was funny as well. The other thing with them is the food was one thing, which was crap. The other thing was the barman, when it was last orders, which I think was like 10 o'clock, something like that, he come round and he had a bell and he literally rang this bell for like 20 minutes outside, just like in your faces as he went past every table. Then once he had done that, he then come back round with beer mats with taxi numbers on them and he just threw them at us as he walked past on every table, as if to say, fuck off out my pub. Even though we just made them a shit ton of money that much, it was like a tiny little pub that's never going to make that sort of money in the day.
It seems very salty,
if
right?
we spend like a lot of money, and by a lot of money, I mean like we're spending like $5,000 or more dollars in one night as a group, we should be able to stay at that place until 4 in the morning. It's the damn police.
The problem is with licensing laws mean they can't serve after a certain time and they have to shut their doors.
Well, then let's have the party at a hotel that serves all night.
Exactly. That's exactly.
Well, maybe not the hotel because that cost me a fortune. But we could, I think, either going back to the first one that we went to.
Cost you a fortune because we all put all of our drinks on the tab.
That is true. But yeah, the first pub we went to would probably be a better option, maybe to go. Well, the reason we did it because we thought it was kind of walking distance, but not many people walked that bit. Most people got a taxi or whatever. But it's to try and encourage everybody to go back to it. But there's got to be somewhere better than that because, to my opinion, it wasn't a good one. And that was the third year we've gone there, you see. So we know it's shit.
I guess the reality is if no one that organises the venue lives in Manchester and lives in that area, it could be quite difficult. I guess if that's the only pub within walking distance.
Let's have the next event at the Conwy Castle.
Conwy Castle, that's where we're going to hold the next Bar Citizen. There we go. You heard it here first.
Good Wi-Fi there.
Good Wi-Fi.
Good Wi-Fi. He just kept freezing on the Few's arse for some reason. Either that or you were just focused on his arse for far too much.
That was an intended artistic decision.
Yes.
Every time the camera froze, it was like on his arse. Either that or just Noodle just held it there for so long.
Are you complaining, Ms.?
I wasn't watching.
All right, you weren't watching yet. You
Are we going to give it a cyclone now?
3 minutes, guys, to enter the cyclone. Exclamation mark.
You said that like 10 minutes ago.
No, he said 8 minutes, 10 minutes ago.
8 minutes, 10 minutes ago.
10 minutes ago.
We're good.
The timer on my bot said 60 seconds, though. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
For the right kind of money, NVIDIA,
morning, right?
It's coffee.
For the right money, I can do ACMR, whatever it is that thing. I know what that is now. That's the sensory shit that those girls do. They rub those things to make people tingle. You ever seen the girl streamers that do that? They tend to be wearing generally low cut tops at the time, but then they're usually gonna,
We decided that with the male streamers who do Twitch streaming, to start the hairy chest streamers. So we need to start wearing a little bit like.
There's someone I see that does D&D, and he literally has a shirt on, and he's got like one button done up, and he just sits there like that. It's like, oh my god.
Well, it's a new thing. It's gonna bring us all the follows.
Oh yeah.
I'm tingling. Hey. I do feel you, Migs, though. I do feel like, but yeah, about the location stuff. It's quite They need to
so the whole reason everything's in Manchester and done like that is because it's obviously where the devs are, and it's the easiest way to force them to turn up without.
If we don't put it. Yeah, if we don't put it, I'm acting like I organized this event. I didn't. I did a lot of work at the event, but I didn't organize it. But if we don't put the event in Manchester, specifically Winslow, the devs won't come. Yeah, and they make the event. Nobody will show up if the devs aren't there, if the CIG employees aren't there.
Yeah. You have to have it there. It's just another pub.
Yeah.
Like I said, eventually, like you said, Miz, like if we can get to a situation where you can guarantee people bigger get more people in, get more people down, bigger numbers, you can hire out the pub area and have the guys Dave serving all night long.
Dave, that's all we need. Just get Dave. He's a legend. I mean, he didn't say no to us, did he? He didn't fucking kick us away.
So we need to have somebody go find an old castle within 100 kilometers, miles, whatever you guys use here in the UK. And move the bricks over to Winslow so we can build a castle there and have the event. It'll be amazing.
Yes.
I mean, can it be a bouncy castle? Because I really like bouncy castles as an adult. They're the best.
Dangerous.
They are. I'm sorry. No, like every adult that goes to a kid's party sees a bouncy castle, and I know inside they're all thinking,
Yeah.
I want to go.
Also, anybody in chat who lives literally in Manchester/Winslow, this is an opportunity for you. If you open up an amazing bar that's Star Citizen themed,
Once right next to the airport.
once a year, you're gonna get an amazing turnout.
I'm gonna say no. You don't want legal on your ass. Just saying.
Yes. Fantastic. Are we at the 3 minutes? We done it? We done? We're there.
15
we're
seconds.
dragging. I feel like we're dragging.
15 seconds.
Oh, you really need to get.
Look, we kept going till 5:30 a.m. I think we can keep going here.
Yeah, let's do it. Where's Mac?
We need some salsa dancing. That's all.
I was about to know, it's like TheFew and Moist. They look like they're already in the.
And the winner
position.
is Mr. Desmarius.
Oh, Des! Seriously, that's so not rigged.
Desmarius, that's not rigged at
Des
all.
won.
Wow.
The guy that's literally.
He's been like peeing me all night saying
Everybody in
rig the
chat
giveaway.
should be
Rig the
rioting
giveaway.
right now.
Yeah, I agree.
Wow.
Congratulations, Des.
Well done, Des. Though.
Congratulations, sir. No one more
it's-
deserved than Des, to be honest. He did chuck bits at me, so maybe that's a secret. Just
So the question is, which,
it took 8 minutes for you to rig it.
which
That's really why it took me 20 minutes to give it away. It's like, fucking rig this
My
bot.
question is, which streamer with less than 10 viewers are we raiding?
Oh yeah, let's find this. This is
Should've been- look, you had 15 minutes to do that. Pick
I'm getting
someone.
it right now. I'm finding it right now.
We're
Let's say
finding somebody right
3,
now.
2, 1. No, those are a lot of streamers.
Somebody little.
Yeah.
The problem is you got to find. Yeah. Do you even thrust, bro? SR.
Do you even trust, bro?
This is it.
Why doesn't my like scrolly thing work? There it is.
Press here.
I got it.
He's a variety streamer. Yeah, he's
No,
small.
no.
He's small.
Oh, Devil Cloud Gaming. Devil Cloud Gaming.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I don't see anybody I don't recognize.
You can throw it to Devil.
Miz, but
You can throw it to Devil or to. Do you even like the whatever that is?
Devil Cloud Gaming.
Give it to Devil because he plays Star Citizen more than the other guy. The guys.
yeah, I agree. Devil's like hardcore SC. Let's throw it to him.
Okay, let's do it.
We haven't hosted him
Nothing if
before.
not
Do it.
faithful to the Star Citizen universe.
Yeah.
There we go,
He
guys.
likes a bit of-
Timer is now
he
on.
likes
Get in the
to
raid. Thank you all so much for the support. Thank you for joining us tonight. A huge thanks to both Moist and TheFew actually for joining us, even from your hotel. Really
I hope I get
appreciate it,
invited
guys.
back.
I'm sure you will, but as long as we don't have to wait for you to come over to the UK again. We had a long wait. But no, it's been a pleasure to meet you at the weekend as well, Few. Had a great time. So, we've gone already. Wow, that was a quick raid. Oh, fuck 'em.
I was a bit weird.
Bye, everybody.
Stop the stream. Stop the stream. Stop the